Good, beautiful Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay Iba Pa. Today is May 7, and we have another exciting episode of our HR Cafe program with our guest, Miss Vivian Cruz, who will be discussing coaching for peak performance. So please watch that out at the second part of our program. Of course, on the first part of our program, we will be updating you with valuable news and information about the HR industry. My name is Coach Darwin Rivers, and again, welcome to the HR Cafe. The HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, Buhay Iba Pa, is an online talk show program. We are the longest running virtual HR program in the Philippines, where we started during the height of the pandemic in 2020. And we're now at episode 133. Again, my name is Coach Darwin Rivers. I'm the founder and CEO of the Philippines HR Group. I'm a certified life coach, a public speaker, motivational speaker, and HR consultant. I'm also the vice president of human resource for a BPO company here in the Philippines. And of course, joining me today are our HR Cafe mentors. We have Mentor Alan Cañete. Mentor Alan is an HR learning and development practitioner with more than 20 years of corporate freelance consulting experience. He's the president of and managing director of Creative Moves Business Outsourcing and one of the founding directors of the Philippines HR Group. Hello, Mentor Alan.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Coach Darwin. Hello, Coach Tina. Thank you very much for watching again another episode para sa mga taong lahat ng mga members ng HR Philippine HR Group na nanonood ngayon online. And thank you very much also for having me again here in our episodes,
Of
Coach Darwin.
course, Mentor Alan. And also, we have our constant mentor, Tina Coang. Mentor Tina is an operations and HR leader with broad local and overseas experience. She's a general manager for retail company and best known for online content and blog tinainmanila.com. She's also one of the Philippines' top 100 women in LinkedIn. Ladies and gentlemen, Mentor Tina Coang. Hello, Mentor Tina.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. It's a pleasure to welcome you guys again to another episode of the HR Cafe. I'm very excited because I have my own HR mentor, Miss Vivian Cruz, to present today. For all who are watching, please leave your name, where you are in the Philippines or wherever you are around the world so that we can give you a shout out in the show. So welcome si Miss Nancy May Batchon o Mandam. Good afternoon to you as well.
At sa lahat po ng mga nakikinig, nanonood, at sa lahat ng mga manonood ng replay, yung mga team replays natin, daan-daan, libo-libo po yan. So, we hope that you continue to support the HR Cafe program. One of our mentors, Ronald Ferentino, won't be able to join us today. Mentor Ronaldo has more than 20 years of HR experience for both local and international companies. She's the president and CEO of Approach Social Geekers, a public speaker, and also one of LinkedIn's top 100 Filipinos to follow. She will be joining us. Mentor Rona will be joining us next week. So let us start our program. And here at the HR Cafe, para po sa mga ngayon lang nakapagsubaybay, ang HR Cafe po, here in our program, we provide timely news and updates. We also impart knowledge and experience that are value-adding and beneficial to our audience. We also discuss problems, issues, and challenges and provide answers and resolutions to different HR topics. And we provide free training through our guest HR experts and guest resource speakers. If there's are any new technology tools and processes as well as industry's best practice, maaasahan nyo po pag-uusapan namin ito dito sa HR Cafe. The goal of the HR Cafe is to bridge understanding between employers and employees and also provide motivation and inspiration to the whole community. Now, we always start our program with our wow quote for the week. And for this week's wow quote for the week, this will be a quote coming from Sir John Maxwell. And according to Sir John Maxwell, good leadership isn't about advancing yourself. It's about advancing your team. Let me just repeat this. Good leadership isn't about advancing yourself. It's about advancing your team. That's according to John Maxwell. Mga kaibigan, mga tagapagsubaybay sa HR Cafe, how does this particular quote resonates to you as a people leader, as an HR professional, as someone who manages teams? How this particular quote, how do you understand this particular quote? Please share it to us at the comment section so that we can also share to the whole community. And right now, let's just hear it coming from our mentors. Mentors, Tina, being a operations leader yourself as well as an HR leader, how does this particular quote of John Maxwell resonates to you?
I actually spend 80% of my time talking to my staff and coaching them how I want things to be done. A lot of companies forget to do that because managers believe that the only thing they need to do is to give instructions to their employees and their subordinates, and they expect it to be done na. So for example, uutusan mo yung tao, 'di ba? Ang isip mo, kaya nga kita binabayaran kasi alam mo na yung ginagawa mo. So, ang tao, pag kunyari, pinapunta mo, pina-messenger mo, may pinalakad ka. Pagbalik sa'yo, magugulat ka na lang na parang, bakit hindi yan yung inutos ko sa'yo? Pero ginawa naman ng tao yung inutos mo. And I think in the Philippines, it's very critical for people to remember this message. While it's okay for you to just shout out instructions, it's also very important and more time saving if you also specifically explain how you want certain things to be done. Kasi minsan iniisip natin, bakit ko sasabihin sa kanya, dapat alam na niya yan. Ayan, dyan tayo laging nagkakamali. Kasi hindi laging alam ng tao kung paano yung dapat mo. Right? And doon tayo nagkakagulo, nagkakaasar. So for me, I spend a lot of time coaching people how to do things and how to think. And when certain conditions are there, I also explain to them the situation. So next time, mulat na yung mata nila. So they know what to do the next time na ulit-uli yung situation na yun. Because you're not just training people here to do specific job tasks. You're also training them to mirror you, to do it in the way that you want them to do. Para kahit na nagbakasyon ka, wala ka na sa team mo, your staff can still work as if you are still monitoring them. But a lot of people skip this part. For them, uutusan kita, babitawan ko na, tapos papagalitan na lang kita pag sablay. And I think that's why a lot of people quit and resign. And they feel that their boss wala namang alam. Kasi sa totoo lang, wala ka rin naman tinuro. So if you really want to be a leader that's very much respected by your subordinates, you need to have that coach, that hat of being a mentor, of a coach, of a leader who can teach them how to do things a certain way. Because when you do it actively, your team becomes stronger as you go along because there will be improvements. But if you're just going to give instructions, tapos papagalitan mo palagi, you will find out that your attrition rate will be high. Kasi people will quit. Lagi mo sila pinapagalitan eh. Pero in fairness, we should also be fair. Pag hindi mo naman tinuro sa kanila kung anong tama at anong dapat, paano nila susundin yung instructions mo, right? So again, if you really want to build a good team, it doesn't matter what type of people you hire. What really matters is how you train them to be the team that you want your team to be. Because there has to be that eh. If you don't do it that way, wala kang tinuturo, then it's not your team. It's a bunch of people just running around doing whatever they want. And you are the stupid leader that's like managing them. It is a failure of leadership.
It's a waste of
tama si
time.
John Mac. It's a waste of time. Paulit-ulit, diba? Hindi mo naman talaga tinuturo. Magtuturo ka nga. Huwag mong papagalitan ng tao mo kasi sablay siya. Because it's also a reflection of you as a leader na sablay ka rin magbigay ng instructions. Totoo yun, right? Always mirror it back yourself. If your staff don't know what to do, it's your failure as a leader because you didn't really teach them what to do. And before I give it back to Sir Alan, I'd like to also greet Zyrel Ansales Sabinay, who's watching from Cebu. Marilyn Obien is watching from Valenzuela City. Olivian Catherine Dizon. Joanne Badango Holgado. And then we do have a comment here. It's about showing them first how to do things and think. And later on, they already know how to think. We are the best example. So if sablay ang tao mo, ang problema hindi yung tao, ikaw yung sablay. So with that, Coach Alan, what do you think?
Okay, ako naman, nagre-reflect ako dito sa quote na to, no? And I tried to recall what happened in the past among leaders that I've encountered. Mga naging boss ko, naging mentor, mga kasabayan ko, mga naging managers, and yung mga na-encounter ko mga kliyente who are CEOs, managers, and supervisors. Ang nakita ko ganito, the reason why there are a lot of leaders are having problems in building credibility and followership also among their people is yung selfish agenda. They have this, siguro immature in terms of professionalism, immature in terms of um, thinking about only their goals, their personal ambitions, and they're just using their people as tools, no? As tools, as instruments to advance their selfish ends. The quote says, we should, as good leaders, be thinking more about advancing our team rather than advancing ourselves. No? So this quote is saying that good leaders don't just think about themselves, they think about their team too. Effective leaders help their team reach their individual goals, yung mga members nila, and prioritize their team's needs as well as their team's development over their own personal achievements. Ba? Kasi pag selfish ang leaders, wala siyang pakialam or second priority lang mga tao. Ang mahalaga yung prestige niya, yung name niya, yung image niya, yung kanyang pangsariling kapakanan at the expense of his team's growth, at the expense of his members' ambitions. May mga ambition din mga tao natin eh. The tips that I can provide among HR managers and all managers alike, all leaders alike, no? Help your team grow. Help every member of your team grow. As a manager, as a leader yourself, it's important to invest in your team's development by, alam natin to, offering them quality training, coaching. Kailangan nila ng time. Each of your members need time one-on-one with you wherein you coach them and mentor them so that they would know what to do, how to accomplish things, how to accomplish your expectations. Yung sinabi ni Mentor Tina kanina, give them feedback that will help them improve their skills and abilities. And when we give them feedback, maintain naman their self-esteem. Huwag naman yung boljakan dito, boljakan dyan, destroying people's self-esteem and self-confidence. Yes, you're giving feedback, and at the same time, you're destroying naman their moral, their motivation with your reckless feedback. Give them feedback with consideration of their self-esteem. Pangalawa, encourage teamwork. Good leaders encourage teamwork and collaboration among their team members. You do not condone people who are bullying their fellow members, who have superiority complex, and alam mga taong ito nakaka-contribute nga sa'yo because they're high performers, but in the process they're destroying other members' moral and self-esteem. Again, as a good leader, we should be taking care of everybody's self-esteem. Kung itong taong ito nagko-contribute, paano naman yung buong team? So we encourage teamwork, we encourage collaboration, and if there are dysfunctional personalities, i-coach natin, i-mentor natin, i-correct natin. Okay? Number 3, and the last, celebrate your team's successes. Hindi mo naman kailangang gumastos ng mahal. Hindi mo kailangang humingi ng malaking budget mag-celebrate sa mga resort. Hindi na. A simple celebration during a meeting, team meeting or town hall meeting, mentioning these high performers, recognizing their contribution to the team's success, malaking bagay sa mga tao to eh. So, no matter how big or small the achievements, let's celebrate the successes of our people. This will boost morale and this will boost motivation and help team members feel proud of their work, feel proud of being a member of your team. So as a leader, it's important to give credit where it's due and show appreciation of your team's hard work and dedication. So, sabi nga ni Lao Tzu, ano yan eh, mas maganda raw yung hindi alam ng mga tao na ikaw yung talagang the person behind all their successes. You're not grabbing the credit and saying to them na hindi nyo naman makukuha yun kung wala sa akin eh. Mas maganda low profile tayo. A leader is best, sabi ni Tata Lao Tzu. A leader is best when people barely knows he exists. When his work is done, his aim is fulfilled, his people will say, we did it ourselves. Pero hindi nila alam, ikaw yung nasa likod. Because you are more interested in advancing them rather than advancing yourself.
Ako, ang gaganda talaga ng mga sinishare ng mga mentors natin. Tama si Mentor Tina and Mentor Alan about how this particular quote of John Maxwell resonates to them. It's about really making sure that the team are well trained, well coached, well mentored. Ako naman ang share ko is this. I remember in one of the talks years ago, may nagtanong sa aking student, Sir, papaano po ba magkaroon ng high-performing teams? And I remember that time, bago pa lang ako manager, and I shared 3 things. Unang-una is that hire people that are better than you. Ang ibig ko sabihin dito is make sure that whenever you hire people, whenever you're looking for your lieutenants, your generals, or kumbaga yung mga next in line successors nyo, pumili ka ng tao na alam mo na may capability, may leadership capability, may management capability, at may innate hunger for knowledge. Kasi ito yung mga tao na alam mo mas magaling sa'yo or mas gagaling sa'yo kasi sila yung makapag-drive din ng team. Second is that if you're not able to hire people who are better than you, make sure that you train people to be better than you. Meaning, pag nakapag-hire ka ng tao mga passionate or highly motivated, pero alam mong kulang sila, you have to mentor and coach them. You have to provide them with the right tools, with the right training, with the right environment for them to be able to grow and be better leaders. And third is that when they become leaders, when they become very good managers, give them space. Give them space so that they'll be able to manage their own teams, give them space to resolve their own problems, and give them space to shine using the trainings, the mentorship, and the coaching that you've given them. So those are the things that I can share in relation to this particular quote. Sa mga audience ba, meron pa bang gustong mag-share about this wow quote for the week, for today, coming from Sir John Maxwell?
We do have some people who are saying hello doon sa atin. We have, sabi ni Miss Mary Villegas, I'm Ann Villegas from Taguig. Chris Igual is greeting good afternoon. And then she's saying then either we can be the best good example or the best bad example. And then we also have, teka lang ha, basahin natin. Good leaders don't only look at productivity and numbers, they look at the overall development of their team members, whether professional or personal. I also celebrate failures because that is how we grow as a team. And welcome to Kirill Gumabay, who is watching from Baguio.
Wow.
The quotes are made by, para siguro, Maria Sumadchat. Marami siyang sinasabi tungkol sa wow quote of the week.
Okay, so let's proceed. Now, HR question for the week. Nako, mait-it pa to, kakapost lang today. May nag-post na fresh grad. Kasi, di ba,
Mm.
panahon ngayon ng school, panahon ngayon ng maraming nag-graduate. May
Mm.
nagtanong, does graduating from a prestigious university or college matter in applying for work? Will your school dictates the level of success that you will be in your life as you start your career? What's your take on this, Mentor Tina?
Mauna muna kayo, sir. Kanina nauna na ako eh. So, Better
Sige,
Alan,
Mentor Alan.
mute.
Sige. Um, I can only
Naniniwala ba
speak for
tayo na
myself, ha?
na ang school ay importante para maging
Oh,
successful sa career?
narinig ba ako?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, Mentor Alan.
Okay. I can only speak for myself as a company owner and also a headhunter for how many years myself. Um, I think graduating from a prestigious university can be helpful. Helpful. May impression agad yan. It creates a first positive impression right away. But, ito it is not the only thing we are looking for. It's not the only thing we look and especially when hiring people. Okay, going to a good school might give someone some advantages, but what's more important para sa akin bilang company owner and bilang headhunter, what's more important is whether they have the skills, they have the experience, they have the tenacity, they have the emotional and mental toughness, or also the emotional quotient as we interview them. And pag nag-i-interview, hindi lang yung competencies ang hinahanap ko at hinahalukay ko sa mga tanong ko. I give them situational questions and EQ questions to really measure how strong these people are in terms of mental and emotional toughness and how good they are in terms of relating with others and their personal relationship with themselves. No? Mahuhuli mo yan sa maraming EQ questions. Okay? So that I would know how will they do their job whenever they're exposed to these kinds of situations that would really, really test their toughness, their agility, their ability to bounce back. Okay? Their resilience. We value diversity. Um, we don't believe that a certain class of our society na kung saan doon pinanganak ang mga batang ito who were able to afford schools that are really expensive and prestigious. We don't believe, I myself don't believe that they have the monopoly of good leadership, good personality, and probably um, predictor ba yun ng success? I don't agree. I believe in diversity. Even those graduates from ordinary schools, sanay sa hirap, dumaan ng napakaraming acid test sa kanilang pagkastudyante at sa personal na buhay, they are the ones proven that they don't easily quit whenever there are challenges at work. I give equal chances to these people, lalong-lalo na pagdating sa mga situational questions at malalaman ko kung gaano kahirap ang pinagdaan ng buhay nitong taon to. I'm sure when that candidate is hired at dumaan ang kumpanya ko sa napakabigat na problema, hindi ako iiwan yan. But in my experience, hindi man po siguro lahat. Marami ako na experience when I hire medyo mataas na level na pinanggalingan ng candidate. Pag nagkakaproblema yung aking kumpanya or mga kliyente, wala na, goodbye, iwanan ka niyan. Yun ang experience ko. I'm only talking about my own experience. I don't know with others. So hindi ko po generalize. So while going to a fancy university might be helpful, it's not the only thing that we care about. Okay? What matters most for me is yung as I said, your experience, skills, the tenacity, and the EQ. That's my take.
Okay. Thank you, Mentor Alan. Ako naman, I believe that graduating from prestigious universities or colleges, it helps it doesn't really matter that much, but it helps put your foot at the door. It helps because graduating from these universities and colleges, yung mga prestigious universities and colleges, ano they have a different level or a higher level of learning that they give to their students, and of course also the kind of network that they would provide to their alumni. So it helps. But when it comes to hiring and when it comes to performing, I would like to go I would like to reference the Job Street Employers Survey of they've had a survey in the Philippines over the past 4 years, among the top 500 companies in the Philippines, which universities does employer prefer to hire? Lo and behold, hindi naman po sa pagbubuhat ng bangko, the Polytechnic University of Philippines always is number one. And as you know, the Polytechnic University of Philippines is a state college, as a state university. But of course, part of the top 10 are your Ivy League schools, your UP Diliman, UP Las Bañas, Ateneo, De La Salle, whatnot. The reason why, according to employers, why they've chosen graduates of PUP or graduates of non-Ivy League schools is because they know that these people, based on their experiences also, would are kumbaga sanay sa hardship, and they would be able to have a different take in terms of challenges, and they thrive in challenges. So that's something that I would like to share. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na na mas magaling ang mga nanggagaling sa public schools or state colleges, universities. What I'm trying to say is graduating from prestigious schools really helps. But at the end of the day, it's the skill set, it's the character, and it's the motivation of the person that will make him successful at work. So that's my take. How about you, Mentor Tina?
Okay, real talk tayo. Okay, because the only thing that a prestigious university degree undeniably gives you is that it removes that insecurity that you don't deserve to be there. Kasi when everyone's applying for a job or a project, a lot of people have very similar standard, yung kakayahan, competency, skill. But a person who graduated from a prestigious university comes in with so much yabang and
Confidence.
confidence. Yabang and confidence. Pataasan ng, and that's something that is innate from a person. Because when you enter a prestigious university, you're taught by the community that you're part of the creme of the creme. That
Correct.
even if you're the pinakakulelat in your batch, you will still be due to brainwashing. You will believe in yourself that you are one of the best. Kasi nakapasok ka in a very exclusive club or group, which is why brotherhood, sisterhood is very strong with prestigious universities because it feeds that mindset that you are excellent. Now, whether or not you are competent or good is another story. Kasi may bumabagsak din sa mga graduates ng prestigious universities. Pag nag-group kayo, meron talagang freeloader, may tamad, may nambobola, may hindi ganun katalino. The things that you find in a normal university, you will still find in a prestigious university. But they are made to believe that they are chosen. So that is one thing that the prestigious university degree gives you. That yabang/confidence that you carry with you all throughout your life. Not necessarily you are magaling, but you are made to believe that you are. So people without that degree, on the other hand, feel that since itong taong to mayabang at magaling, pag nagsalita, napakaganda, napaka-presentable, magaling magsalita, magaling na. And that is when you actually work together, then you find out, ay hindi pala, magaling lang palang mambola. Pero, you have to give respect. Kasi walang insecurity. Sablay na, pero hindi pa rin siyang insecure. Feeling niya, ang ganda-ganda pa rin niya, ang galing-galing pala niya, yung wala siyang mali, right? And I think instead of asking ourselves and criticizing that type of mindset, we can learn and integrate with ourselves that type of level of confidence. If you are good, then you can have the right to be good. Kasi in the Philippines, people say, ay, bawal mayabang. Bawal magyabang. Pag nagyabang ka, bawal yan, right? When you're in a prestigious university, dapat you need to be at least mayabang. And I think we as Filipinos have to learn that confidence in ourselves. Because a lot of people without a prestigious university degree, they won't attempt if they feel they can't do it. So, ang natitira, yung mga mayayabang, na wala pang experience, wala pa talagang alam, pero hingi ng 60,000. You know what I mean? Ito namang isa, hindi, 15 lang pwede na kasi wala naman tatanggap sa akin. You know what I mean? So, if you really look at the other side, you need to learn, it's good to value yourself too. And sometimes, parang you can achieve more if you aim for more. Sometimes, it's a self-fulfilling strategy na kahit na takot kang kumuha ng project, kahit first time mo lang gawin, sabihin mo sa sarili mo, bahala na si Batman. Kasi yung katabi mong graduate ng prestigious university, sa totoo lang, hindi naman kasing galing mo yan eh. Alam mo, I mean, for me a graduate from a PUP and a graduate from an Ateneo, because I know I'm from, and I hire from PUP. Sa totoo lang, mas magaling pang PUP eh. Pero mas mayabang nga na artista. Alam mo yun, kahit walang experience, walang alam, gagawin pa rin. Pag may mali, pivot na lang. Ang Atenista magaling mag-correct. Magaling akala mo parang ang galing-galing, yung pala wala pa palang na-research. We're very good in writing 60-page reports on the fly. We're very good in presenting, even if we have no background. Instead of saying it na mambobola kami, sabihin mo na lang, alam mo, we can learn from them and actually be more confident. Because if it is our confidence that make us, and huwag kang magpapatalo at huwag kang ma-insecure kasi hindi ka graduate ng prestigious university. Kasi ang nagtatalo sa'yo, hindi yung degree. Ang nagtatalo sa'yo, yung mindset mo. Kasi feeling mo, hindi ka kasing galing nila. And from a prestigious university, because I'm a graduate of a prestigious university, I can tell you talaga for sure, that's not true. That's really not true. Magaling mambola, pero not necessarily mas magaling sila. Okay? Pero, it is up to you to grab it and be more confident. Kaya nga sabi ng tao, taga-PUP ka pala? Akala ko Atenista ka. Kasi mayabang. Diba? People think you're from a prestigious university kasi yabang-yabang mo. Pero it's not the yabang. It's really the confidence that you need to harbor in yourself, because people don't care later on where you're from. They only care about the type of confidence you bring to the table, because people invest in people, not in degrees.
Agree.
Yeah, diba? So with that, I'd like to greet as well. Sabi niya, Maria Sumadhat. Sabi ni Maria, it's your character and competencies for the job, not your school. And welcome to Jangas Giovanni, who's watching from Pampanga. Diba? Ang yabang na mga PUP is a very great PUP, RTU, TIP, any of the UP, that's Los Baños, mga yun, magaling mag-hire doon. They have the skills, but not the yabang. Kaya they tend to last longer. And that's the reason why PUP and all these other schools are very much searched for. Lalong-lalo na pag-hiring. Coach Darwin.
Parang lumalabas parang branding plus confidence
Sobra.
can influence perception.
It does influence perception. a prestigious university degree, number one, it removes your insecurity.
Mhm.
Yun lang. Yun lang talaga. Hmm.
Okay.
Next
Agree.
po.
So let's go on with our updates to our community. Now with SSS. Mentor Tina, ano bang bago sa SSS?
Apparently, alam pa nyo, pag kunyari nagbabayad kayo ng mga SSS remittance tsaka loan sa mga not in the branch, nagbabayad kayo ng fee. So now, binabaan ng service fee for SSS online and over-the-counter payments. 8 pesos na lang para sa online payments, 10 pesos na lang para sa over-the-counter transactions. And if you're going to complain as to why, kahit na mag-deposit kayo sa bangko, may bayad din. Kahit mag-withdraw kayo sa bangko, may bayad din. So, fees are already a norm of life, and SSS is just informing you that it's cheaper now, starting from May 1. Okay? Next po. They would
Nako,
also like to remind everyone.
retirement pension. Marami nagtatanong
Oo
dyan,
nga
magkano
eh.
kaya makukuha natin pag nag-retire tayo?
Ang tanong is magkano ba dineposit mo per month? Kasi kasi ang mga Pilipino gusto minimum, 'di ba? Pero pag kunyari may pension or may benefit, gusto maximum. Reminder lang ng SSS, kung anong pinasok mo, yun din ang ilalabas sa'yo. So if you pay minimum, 2,200, you will also get minimum as a benefit. If you pay maximum, you will get, for example, you're paying the maximum payment. As of December 2022, you will get 19,634 if you retire. So my mother, for example, started paying in late 1970s, 80s, 90s, 2000. I think she's being paid now 12,000 pesos. So she's in the mid-range. Which is not bad, diba? Like kahit for you, mababa yung binayad mo before, ang makukuha mo pa rin later on, parang mas mataas due to inflation. So, wag tayo masyadong mabilang sa SSS. Make it a part of your habit to invest or to allot a little bit of money to the SSS. Kasi in a way din, bumabalik din naman talaga yun. Kaysa mag-VUL kayo tsaka insurance, doon na lang sa SSS. At least ito, sigurado, meron ka makukuha. Yun. Alright, next po. With Pag-ibig naman po, again, Pag-ibig MP2 savings is another place that you can park your money that's government backed. So if, for example, you have money that you will require 5 years from now, gusto mo siyang ilagay sa isang lugar na hindi siya mawawala and will earn higher than time deposit interest, Pag-ibig MP2 is a very good option for you. A lot of people are complaining about VUL investments kasi there's a lot of people who lost money kasi it's an investment nga. But with Pag-ibig MP2, it is really a place to park your money para laban ng inflation and you still earn pa rin on the process. I've invested a few hundreds in Pag-ibig MP2 for my children's educational fund. So that is one way talaga for you to keep money for your kids without spending it, and then it's still earning as you go along. So last year it's 7.03% per annum. So I think this year 2023 it will be higher pa kasi mas mataas yung rates ngayon. So I think it should be more than 8 next year. Okay? So next po. Alan? Muted?
Actually, this is really more of a reminder related to HDMF or Pag-ibig. Yung Pag-ibig, yung Pag-ibig Plus or Pag-ibig Loyalty Card Plus, nagbibigay sila ng mga discounts. Like for Rose Pharmacy, ang binibigay nila ngayon ay 10% discount on selected Rose Pharmacy generics and 5% on all Guardian products. Also, sabi nga ni Mentor Tina, talagang maganda po ang mag-invest sa Pag-ibig, lahat ng mga loans sa Pag-ibig kasi as per Pag-ibig, yung mga short-term loans sila, napakarami po ang natutulungan. For this year alone, tumaas po ng 21% increase ang mga umuutang ng short-term loans sa Pag-ibig. Kasi po pag umuutang tayo sa Pag-ibig, yung revenue o yung kita ng utang na binabayaran sa Pag-ibig, yan po ang nilalagay sa investment pa rin natin sa Pag-ibig, sa MP2, saka sa mga main Pag-ibig natin. So, It's really one of the good investment. And if you need loans, you can avail of the Pag-ibig short-term loans. Mentor Alan, any updates regarding PhilHealth for
Okay.
overseas Filipino workers?
This is actually more of an advice kung paano magparehistro sa PhilHealth ang mga overseas Filipino workers. Dalawa yan yung land-based OFWs tsaka mga sea-based OFWs. Para sa mga land-based, kailangan meron tayong fully accomplished PhilHealth member registration form. Tsaka copy ng one valid ID at ang mga supporting documents para sa idedeklarang dependent. Tapos we also have to have latest job order or contract from our employer. Okay, sa C-based OFWs naman, dapat meron din kayo noon nung fully accomplished registration form ng PhilHealth membership form, no? Tapos meron kayong report of employee member or kung tawagin ER2, employee members report. Kopya din ng one valid ID at saka mga supporting documents para sa idedeklarang dependent. Ngayon, simple lang naman yung babayarang contribution. Halimbawa, 50,000 yung basic salary, ang multiplier po niyan ay 4% premium rate ng calendar year 2023. So in that example, 2,000 ang kabuang buwan ng hulog. So, sa maaring magbayad ng premium contribution para sa land-based, punta po kayo sa PhilHealth local health insurance offices, sa PhilHealth accredited collecting agents sa Pilipinas, sa PhilHealth accredited collecting agents sa ibang bansa tulad ng iRemit o Bentaha International Corporation. Para naman sa sea-based OFWs, kinakaltas po yan ng employer ninyo o ng inyong manning agency at i-remit po yun sa PhilHealth. Okay? Yung pangalawang slide dito about PhilHealth, nagsasabi lang to kung paano, no, paano makakagamit ng PhilHealth benefits. So, for the local confinement ng mga members or qualified dependents, 2 steps. First step, magpresenta ng valid ID sa billing section ng ospital upang ma-verify ang record ng membership mo sa Philippine Health Portal. Number 2, kung nag-yes ang status ng eligibility ng member sa PhilHealth portal, maaari na makagamit agad. At kung nag-no, mangyari lamang na ipresenta ang mga kinakailangang dokumento. Nakalista po yan sa lahat ng mga hospital kung ano yung mga pipresent nyo. At yan ay nasa screen ngayon. So, kailangan din na para malaman nyo yung kabuang detalye, call back PhilHealth Channel 0917-898-74242. Yun lang po.
Okay, maraming salamat, Mentor Alan. Now, a few reminders coming from our sponsors, El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club. They have resorts and vacation club in Pangasinan, Boracay, and Palawan. Members of the Philippines HR Group gets exclusive discounts and perks. Just message them at their Facebook page, El Puerto Marina Beach Resort and Vacation Club. Excuse me. And also, Unicare is a partner of the Philippines HR Group, and you just being a member of Philippine HR Group, you get discounts to more than 70 plus restaurants. So you have an automatic 10% discount for all PHRG members. Absolutely free for PHRG members, no service fee. Ito po ay hanggang July 30, 2023. Para po mag-avail, punta lang po kayo sa unicare.ph/phrg. Pag nag-sign up po kayo doon, makaka-receive po kayo ng email confirmation at you will be receiving your QR code na pwede nyo rin pong i-share sa mga empleyado ninyo para yung mga empleyado rin nyo po or mga kamag-anak nyo ay makagamit din po ng privilege na partnership natin with Unicare. Makaka-receive po sila ng 10% discount on all our merchant partners. Pakita lang po yung QR code or yung company ID. Also, for those people in the Visayas region, especially in Cebu, pupunta po kami sa Cebu this coming June, face-to-face. May dalawa pong training na simultaneously mangyayari sa Cebu. Ang Certified Human Resource Professional. Watching na po ito sa Cebu. Ito po ay sa dati na June 10 to 11. It's 2 whole days. Certified Human Resource Professional. The facilitators of CHRP will fly to Cebu to certify HR leaders in Cebu in the Visayas area or Visayas region. Also, for those mga HR professionals na gustong magkaroon ng talagang extensive training for HR. Ito po yung mga newly graduates ng HR ng Human Resource Management o yung mga entry level ni HR up to supervisor manager level na gustong mag-review about HR. Meron po tayong 2-day HR core training program. Ito din po ay mangyayari ng June 10 to 11. The HR core training program, Cebu Batch 3. Ang mga topics po ay for total rewards, static acquisition, labor relations, training and development, and organizational development. At ito po ay mangyayari, itong dalawang training na to, ay mangyayari sa Summit Galleria Cebu, Benedicto Street Corner, Maximum Avenue, Cebu City. Ito po ay sa isang hotel, 2 days po siya, full days. Magkaiba po ang CHRP at ang core training program. The CHRP are for those who are manager levels and above, and for the HR core training program, para po ito sa mga fresh graduates up to manager level or sa mga gustong mag-shift into a career of HR at gustong matrain about HR, attend po kayo ng HR core training program. Also, if you have any questions, HR-related questions, please post them at the Philippines HR Group Facebook page. We have more than almost 300,000 na sa ating Facebook page. Sa ating LinkedIn page naman, you just have to go to the Philippines HR Group LinkedIn, more than 20+ thousand members already. And please also like the FB page of the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, pwede ba pa? Diyan nyo po mapapanood lahat po ng more than 130+ recordings ng mga previous episodes natin. So i-like nyo po ang FB page ng the HR Cafe, Usapang Trabaho, pwede ba pa? And for those who would like to be part of our sponsorships program, please reach out to any of our mentors, Mentors Tina, Mentors Alan, and Mentor Shona, or myself. Or you can email us at darwinrivers@yahoo.com or message us at the HR Cafe, Trabaho Pwede ba pa, or our FB page at the Philippines HR Group. Now, for the HR Cafe program, season 3 na po tayo because we're already at year 3. For the month of May, nako, napaka ganda po ng roster of speakers natin. Week 1, we have Vivian Cruz. Ito po yung maging speaker natin today. Week 2, we have Sir June Roy. Week 3, we have Lay Gonzalez. And week 4, we have Layden Tagiba. Abangan nyo po ito mga speakers na to at kaya po namin sila invite kasi sure po kami that they will add value and add learning to your weekly weekend training program na binibigay po natin dito sa HR Cafe. And without further ado, I would like to welcome and introduce Ms. Vivian Cruz, who will be discussing coaching for peak performance. Let me just introduce her to you guys. Ms. Vivian Cruz is a certified coach with more than 20 years of experience as HR practitioner, 7 years of which are spent in business leadership role and 3 years leading to shared services business for a leading in cruise line industry, with track record leading to HR functions in a regional role and capable of managing diverse and industry culture. Si Ms. Vivian Cruz po ay ang Chief Organization and Capability Officer ng Formidea PH, and siya rin po ang Chief Organization and Capability Officer ng iLead Philippines. Si Ms. Cruz po ay nag-graduate sa Miriam College Meron siyang certificate course in Human Resources and Management Organization Development. Meron din siya pong certificate course in Project Management sa ASEAN Institute Management and Leading Strategic Growth Certification from the Columbian Business School, and also a certified organization life coach from the Institute of Executive Coaching and Leadership. We are very honored and proud to have Miss Vivian Cruz for today. Hi, Miss Vivian. Are you here? Miss Vivian, we welcome you here po sa HR Cafe.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Darwin, Alan, and Tina. Thank you for inviting me over at the HR Cafe. Magandang tanghali po sa ating lahat, and I hope everyone can hear me clearly.
Loud and
I'd
clear,
like
ma'am.
to I'd like to share lang, Coach Vivian Cruz has coached and mentored many esteemed HR practitioners in and out of the Philippine HR group. She's the go-to facilitator for general HR knowledge. So we're very excited to have her because she's always been so generous with her time, knowledge, and when she trains with a lot of effort. Nakaka-tempt minsan na every time somebody's looking for a consultant, yung pangalan ni Ma'am Vivian yung laging nilalabas kasi she can do everything kasama na ang job evaluation, salary structuring, how to make HR policies. But it's very tempting to just say Miss Vivian. Basta for anything HR, Miss Vivian talaga. So very happy to have her here today to talk about coaching for high peak performance.
Thanks,
Okay.
Tina. Hindi kita
Doon kami sa
matatanggihan.
labas, ha? Doon kami sa likod. Doon kami sa likod. Any
Fair enough.
questions, pakiiwan na lang sa chat box and then we'll read it after the show, after the presentation.
We'll give you the floor, Ma'am Vivian.
Thank you. So good afternoon mga ka-HR, and this afternoon we will be talking about coaching for peak performance, no? And so let's start with our conversation with, I think everybody know Dave Ulrich, right? And Dave Ulrich will always share with us that, hey, when you talk about the HR practice, okay, the HR practice normally manages, or not just normally, but we drive, okay, three very important areas, no? Okay, in every businesses, no? And one of which is the organization, di ba? So as HR practitioners or HR professionals, we take care of the entire organization as a whole. And when you talk about organization, it doesn't just only talks about people. Okay, so in the organization, we manage them. We make sure, no, that we help the organization grow the capability. And of course, when we talk about it, the first thing that comes into mind is people. Na ito yung ating minamanage sa HR practice. But it's not just people and organization. Very important din for us, no, is our leaders, because leaders play a very important role when it comes to the success of the organization. Kaya nga lagi nating sinasabi na when you talk about HR, we are looking at a triad, because HR, no, manage people, leaders, and the organization. So in that particular perspective, and if we are very passionate, no, about Dave Ulrich's role of HR, you would see in here that the role of HR revolves among people, leaders, and organization. And so I just also would like to share that yung ating ding mindset nag-change na, no? In the past, business is more focused about profit, about bottom line. Okay, tinitingnan lagi natin, kumita ba tayo, kikita ba tayo in this particular undertaking. Okay, but then again, there has been very important lessons that were brought to us by the changes that is happening not just in the business environment but across the globe. So now what we are looking at is us is sustainability. So as an organization, we're now checking in, are the things that we're doing, okay, sustainable? Is our business sustainable? Are all of the programs that we have are sustainable? Sabi ko nga lagi, no, when I teach or when I share during certification program, the pandemic taught us a lot. It also changes the way, not just the way we work, but even in terms of our mind shift. We now are aiming towards sustainability or business sustainability rather than on gaining profit year on year. Kasi mas nakikita natin, no, that when we talk about sustainability, it's for a long period of time. It's for a horizon. Okay, rather than just, sabi nga natin, on a survival mode. And so therefore, we cannot just be simply sustainable. Hindi pwedeng sabihin natin, ito yung negosyo ko, build for sustainability. So how? And how are we going to measure it? And so therefore, it's very important for us that everything that we do will create results, di ba? And results leads to business impact. And if we continue to impact the business, or if the business continuously create impact, that leads to sustainability. And so therefore, it's also very important for us to make sure that the organization is high performing. Kanina, prior to joining in, I was in the backstage. I've heard the hosts, Darwin, Tina, and Alan talking about driving high performance organization. And so that's very important, because if we are not able to drive the organization to perform, we will not be able to drive results for the business, and therefore it cannot lead to sustainability. And so which is why a lot of organization now is investing on their organization capability. This is very different from people's capability. Yung ginagawa nating training needs analysis year on year, that's geared towards developing people's capability. But even in terms of that perspective, we are now expanding it into understanding what the organization needs so that we will be geared towards success. Dito, hindi na lang natin tinitingnan yung job per se, but tinitingnan na rin natin ano ba yung overall goals and objectives of the organization. And from there, inaalam natin or we gauge, sandali, anong capability yung dapat lahat meron tayo, regardless of our role in the organization. And that's what organization capability is. Okay? A lot of conversation, I think, was mentioned about quality management system. Okay, in the past, and I've been a product of it, that we focus also many effort in making sure that there's quality standards in the way we do things. Okay, there's quality standards in the way we operate the business, diba? Because that's an organization capability, the drive to chase quality systems. We've talked about continuous improvement. Kaya nga yung iba organization, may lean management, may Six Sigma, Okay, because these are drive for continuous improvement, and now there is TRIS, So, hinahanap natin how we can innovate the business, okay, without changing drastically the way we do things, but at the same time, it's also building organization capability. And so on and so forth. And there's a lot of methodology or intervention that the business is introducing right now to make sure that we develop our organization capability. And coaching is not different from it. So a lot of organization is now investing on coaching. They are now embedding coaching as part of their organization DNA. Pag sinabi nating DNA, di ba? It's part of the organization culture. So similar to continuous improvement, quality management system. So investing in coaching help us in terms of developing our organization capability. It's a different approach, but when you look at the overall objective in terms of what you would like to achieve, it goes hand in hand with other interventions that you have technologically. So you can do your lean management and coaching at the same time. You can pursue your quality management systems using coaching as intervention or tool as well. And there's a lot of definition that we have heard about coaching. And sometimes it's being, ano sabi natin dito, nai-interchange natin with mentoring. So when we talk about coaching, we're talking here about a structured conversation. So it's structured because there is a framework. Okay, there is a sequence of questions that we ask. Okay, the follow-through questions that we ask to our coachee, our coaching counterpart, is also well thought of, because through that structured conversation, we are able to highlight what is the measurable outcome. So, ang kaibahan nito, di ba, yung sinasabi natin, nagkwentuhan tayo ng isang oras pero wala tayong naging resulta, hindi coaching yon. Ang coaching is a conversation with an end goal in mind in terms of what we would like to achieve. Okay? And in terms of that kind of conversation, it is collaborative in nature. Collaborative because sabi nga natin, when you talk about collaboration, it's not a one-way conversation. It's a two-way conversation between you as a leader or as HR and your coachee or your coaching counterpart. And so therefore, when you collaborate, when you ask questions, no, sabi nga natin, your coachee or your coaching counterpart think what would be their best option to take. And so therefore, this is in the service of your coachee or talent. So that's the difference of coaching. In coaching, the experience is set in the talent or coachee, not with the coach. Kaya nga sabi natin dati, di ba? Okay, pag sinabi natin coaching, laging sasabihin ng mga participants ko, ay, ito ay puro patanong. It's true. Okay. So because in coaching, we as HR or leaders, no, focus on asking questions. Asking well-thought and provocative questions that will help our talent or our coaching counterpart or our coachee think what are the options that he can take so that he would be able to realize his goal despite the obstacles that he or she is experiencing. And so therefore, no, it's engaging and at the same time, sabi nga natin, collaborative in nature. So pag tayo ang nagsasabi sa ating mga team members, sa ating mga managers kung what to do, that's not coaching. Because when we talk about coaching, the experience is set on the coaching counterpart or the talent or the leader themselves. And so therefore, why coaching? Why is it now a trend? In the past, no, when you talk about coaching, it's really more about coaching your executives. That's why we have what we call executive coaching. But now, there's now organization coaching, team coaching. So coaching is now embedded into the day-to-day operations of the business. So why? Because when we talk about coaching, it harnesses the value of insight to action model. Kasi pag nagko-coaching conversation tayo, no, sabi nga natin, because of the questions that we ask to the talent or to the coachee, nagde-develop sila ng kanilang insights. Nagde-develop sila ng kanilang, ano nga ba ang magandang gawin? At pag na-discover na nila, ay oo nga, ito yung gagawin ko. Okay, there is a call to action in the coaching exercise. The role of the coach, no, is to put tension or what we call pressure, okay, for the coachee or coaching counterpart to act on it immediately. And so that's why it possesses what we call insight to action model, which by the way is very important, okay, and a very good characteristic of a leader. Second, coaching empowers people. Because in coaching, kaya nga sabi natin, our role as coach is to ask questions. Okay, our role as coach, no, is to firm ano ba yung gustong puntahan kay ng ating mga coaching. And so with that exercise, no, we are empowering them because we are asking them, what do you think we can do to address the issue? What do you think we can do to leverage on the opportunity ahead of us? And so in this perspective, the leader or the coachee felt, or even our staff or team member felt, that they are being empowered. One good thing about coaching, and one of the reasons which I kept on repeating when I doing coaching conversation with HR practitioners who would like to apply coaching in the workplace, is that, okay, in coaching, the reason why we do not tell them what to do, okay, we do not specify them, we do not specify what would be the best action to take, but we let the coachee realize what is the best action to take, is because we would like them to own. We would like them to own the exercise. We would like them to be personally accountable for the options, for the actions, and for the decisions that they made. Yun yung gusto natin. Kaya hand in hand, they felt empowered, but at the same time, they're taking ownership and accountability. Why? Kasi ako nag-isip eh. Ako ang nagsabi kay coach, what will I be doing? And so in that perspective, I take responsibility and accountability of my insights. So I will make sure that I will translate it into action, di ba? Whereas, always nakikita natin to, di ba? Pagka nagkamali tayo, sasabihin nung ating mga manager, ba't tayo nagkamali? Sasabihin ng staff natin, boss, ikaw nagsabi niyan eh. Kasi dinirect natin eh. Tayo ang nagsabi of what should be done. And so therefore, it is very important for us as coach, okay, to make sure that we do not specify what is the best action to take. And we made them realize it so that there will be accountability. There would be ownership. I kept on highlighting this because others felt that coaching is telling them what to do. It's not. It's directing. It's not coaching. And so if we do apply these three, no? If there's insight to action model, if we empower people, and if we develop personal accountability and sense of ownership, we are able to help people realize their full potential. So coaching is actually a tool that you use so that your talent, your leaders in the organization would be able to optimize their full potential. And by the way, when I talk about talent, okay, you can coach anyone. You can coach anyone in the organization. That's why coaching is now being embedded as part of an organization culture. So when do we coach? When is the best time to apply coaching intervention? Kailan ba natin kino-coach yung mga tao natin? Okay, so the first one is that, okay, it's very good to coach people if we would like to stretch our high potential and high performing talents. Di ba? Meron kayo niyan sa inyong mga talent review process, sa ating mga succession plan. And if wala, I will really suggest you do a talent review process year on year so that you would know who are your high performing talents and who are your high potential talents. And when you are able to identify your high performing and high potential talents, you can stretch them. And stretching them, okay, and apply coaching so that they would be able to see what else they can do. They will be able to discover what other strengths do they have. And they would also be able to neutralize or augment, okay, their weaknesses as well. Coaching also inspire people. Because, di ba, when you are assigned with a coach, it feels good, okay? So, I've had that a lot of experiences in the past that when I am introduced to an executive and they would say, you will undergo coaching, the executives felt bad. The executives felt, am I not good enough, which is why I'm being coached? But actually, it's the other way around. Okay, you are being coached, no, because we would like to stretch you. We would like to make sure, no, that you are able to optimize your full potential because the organization is investing on your development. So you should be inspired. So when a person or a talent is given a coach, it's inspiring. Okay, because it feels good to know that the company is taking care of their talents. And lastly, okay, coaching guides people in terms of what would be the best action to take. But in this perspective, guidance is not in the manner of this is what you should be doing or this is what should be done, but guidance is by applying the insight to action model, by letting the coachee or the talent think through what would be the best options that they would be taking so that they would be able to achieve performance or they will be able to deliver the results needed by the business. So in perspective, no, coaching drives performance. Okay? And in the past, no, sabi ko nga laging ang coaching is limited to the senior leadership group. Okay, but in the recent trends, no, we are now embedding coaching in terms of driving high performance within our own organization. And so I just would like to share a very simple approach on how we can embed coaching in driving performance within the organization. Coaching can be integrated when we set performance goals. Okay, when you are in your goal setting activity, when you sit down with your people, okay, highlighting what would be the performance target for the year, you can apply coaching. Rather than specifying what should be achieved, you can provide them, this is the organization goals and objectives. What do you think? Okay, are the action points or the key initiatives that we should undertake so that we can realize our goal? That's coaching. Okay, and coaching help us focus on performance delivery. Okay, I always ask HR practitioners, how frequent do you do performance review? A lot of times, no, leaders would tell me once a year or twice a year because that's what HR told us. That's our formal performance review cycle. But reality is, if you can review performance of your people every day, that would be the ideal scenario. Para maiwasan na natin yung PIP, di ba? Yung mga performance improvement plan natin. So which is why we need to encourage our leaders, okay, to do informal review sessions. Sabi ko nga, check-in, regular check-in. Sabi ko nga kaya nyo ba every day? Kung konti lang naman yung tao natin. Kaya ba natin every week? Kaya ba natin every month? Because, okay, when we do regular check-ins with our people, it helps them be able to see that this is the target. Ito yung mga kailangan kong baguhin to realize the business results. Ito pala yung kailangan kong i-capitalize. And by applying coaching in terms of how we deliver performance, sabi nga, more focus tayo, eye on the ball. So mas nagiging engaged, mas nagiging, sabi natin, focus tayo dun sa objectives natin. Okay, so coaching really helps us a lot in developing focus. Kasi coaching narrows down what we need to do, okay, into the few things that matters to the organization. It is also very important for us that coaching is or can be integrated in terms of measuring performance. Okay, because coaching, when you apply it, and later we will share to you a very simple but very powerful tool in coaching, it helps you measure your performance on a regular basis. As a coach, our role is to check in whether our coachee or our coaching counterpart is able to realize the objectives that they've set. And if not, to be able to create different interventions to make sure na ma-realize natin yung objective. Kaya kung mas frequent yung ating performance conversation, okay, mas magiging attainable yung ating mga objectives. Hindi tayo magkakagulatan every 6 months and every year at maiiwasan natin yung mga performance improvement plan. And so therefore, okay, coaching also helps in terms of determining the business impact of performance delivery. So dito mas mananarrow down natin hindi lang quantity or quality, but what we can do is we would be able to check in, quantity and quality. We would be able to integrate because by applying coaching in your performance management cycle, it helps your people be more focused. It helps your people, it guides your people, okay? Para ma-achieve kung ano yung dapat nating ma-achieve within the organization. At ang maganda kasi pag regular yung ating coaching exercise, hindi na-overwhelm or nalulunod yung ating mga tao sa dami ng kanilang gagawin. Bakit? Kasi through coaching, natuturuan natin sila or natutulungan natin sila to narrow it down to the few things that matters. So there's a lot of business models or there's a lot of techniques in coaching. But embedding it on your performance in your day-to-day operations and embedding coaching in the day-to-day performance conversation, I just would like to share a very common tool that is being used in coaching. And this is the GROW coaching model. Why GROW? Ayan, why GROW? It's because it stands for an acronym wherein G stands for goal, reality for R, O for options, and W for wrap up. So let's just have a quick refresher in terms of each of the acronym. G stands for the goal. What do we want to achieve? What is the specific outcome of the conversation? Okay, so this is the purpose as to why you are doing the coaching conversation. Okay, and remember pag sinabi nating coaching, hindi tayo ang nagsasabi dun sa ating mga tao kung ano yung goal. Okay, pwedeng sabihin natin this is yung overall objective for the business or for the department, and we will ask them, in your perspective, what should be your goals for the position or for the department that you have that can contribute to a bigger objective. So this is the conversation wherein you are trying to narrow down the goals that are linked in achieving business results. And then from there, it's always good to check in where you are today. What is happening in terms of relationship, what is happening towards attaining of your goal. Okay? Smooth ba? Or may obstacles ba? Okay? Ano-ano yung mga obstacles? Ano-ano yung mga challenges natin? So if you notice, okay, we are trying to check-in sa pananaw ng ating mga tao, ng ating talent, ano ba yung existing natin ngayon, yung status quo natin. So if you notice, we ask for the goal, we ask for the reality, anong mini-measure natin dito? Kaya yung mga, sabi nga natin, very technical people, no? Yung mga kailangan ng logic. Okay, ano yung ina-apply natin dito? We are getting or we're trying to understand the gaps. 'Di ba? The gaps, the difference between the goal and the realities are your gaps. So what is it that you would like to address? Okay, and so therefore, now that you're able to identify what are the gaps that you have, now we will be focusing on the options. And options are what are the possibilities available to you that can help you so that you would be able to address the gaps and achieve your goal. Normally, pag nagkakaroon tayo ng coaching conversation, mapapaisip yung ating mga coachee or talents. And that's good. Ha? So, let them think through. Because why? They will, sabi ko nga, huhugot sila sa kanilang baol. Yan. So they will draw it from the experiences that they have had in the past. Experiences that they think would be able to relate, no? Dun sa kanilang goal. And so that would be an option that they can take. And when you look into the options, I always advise leaders who would like to apply coaching, when you apply options, it's always good to already ask what they foresee as the advantages or cost and the benefit, so that while they are thinking through, they are already evaluating their options. And so therefore, no, as they cite the options that they are parang tinitingnan, they are already processing it. And so that's a lot easy for them to proceed with the wrap up. And the wrap up is understanding what is the best way to move forward. So among the options na napili mo, alin yung best option para sa iyo? Alin sa tingin mo, no, yung swak dun sa need ng organization? Okay? And once it's able to narrow down, okay, our role as a coach is to ask them, what are you going to do now? And part of our role as a coach is to make sure, sabi nga natin, insight to action, that they act on what they've thought as an option. So we ask them the question, so what are you going to do? When are you going to do it? And how do you know that it's done? Because that puts some tension, positive tension, ang sabi ko lagi doon, positive tension. And it creates a sense of urgency that the talent needs to act on it already, no? Okay, because sabi nga natin, para ma-deliver agad natin yung results for the business. So if you notice, no, when we talk about the growth coaching model, what is very important here is we let the person think through. We let them process. Like yung sinasabi, ano ba yung beauty ng coaching? Ang beauty ng coaching is the talent draw from their experiences. Okay, in terms of how they've done it in the past. Okay, what are the things that they can do to realize their options? And us as coach, by asking question, no, we are able to help them process. So napraprocess na agad nila, no? Sabi nagkakaroon na agad sila ng good understanding nung ginawa ko to, ano yung mga important ingredients. Okay, which led to success. Or kung nag-fail, bakit kami nag-fail? So that it can be lesson learned, no? And which is why it's very important, no, that you apply or you let the person think through. Sabi ko nga ang purpose ng coaching is decluttering. Kasi sa sobrang dami ng iniisip natin, ng mga talents natin, ng ating mga leaders, okay, in respects to business as usual activities or BAU, okay, nagiging firefighting yung mode natin. But when there is someone helping us, guiding us by asking the right questions, we are able to think through or declutter. Okay? Mas nagiging focus tayo, mas nagkakaroon tayo ng definitive na mga action points kung alin yung mga action plans or objectives that we will be pursuing because they are linked dun sa definition natin ng organization success. Which is why I also would like to give you a caveat that coaching is best done for your people who are experienced. It's best done for people who are experienced. Pag wala pa experience yung ating mga employees, yung ating mga talent, entry level, let's start first with directing and mentoring. At pag nakikita ninyo no, na nag-show na ng knowledge, ng understanding of the business, you can transition them into coaching. Why? Kasi kung wala pa, hindi pa nila na-experience yun in the past, kahit isang oras kayong maghintay, wala silang masasabing mga options. But through mentoring, na-accelerate natin no, yung development ng ating mga tao and they can be ready for coaching conversations. So what are the cornerstone of coaching? As a coach, what are the things that we can anchor on? Sabi nga natin, no? And so the first one is curiosity. So our curiosity, sabi nga natin, it's about empathy, putting ourselves on the shoes of our coachee or our talent. And we can do that by asking open-ended questions. Diba? Sabi natin, open-ended questions are questions that are not answerable by yes, no, or maybe. So, by being curious, we are actually helping our people. We are helping our leaders. So, let's practice yung asking open-ended questions. Kasi sometimes, sabi lagi ng mga participants ko in training, yan yung mahirap eh. Ano yung mga itatanong natin? And we can give a good feel of that no, when we actively listen. Next no, is we let the employee lead. Let them lead. Kaya nga sabi ko, it's empowering. Pagka may problem, and I used to work with manufacturing companies in the past, and whenever there is problem in production, what we always tell is go to the people on the ground because they know what went wrong and how it can be fixed. So that's also an important cornerstone for coaching. We let the employee lead. Kaya nga sabi ko dati lagi, no, kung ayaw natin, pag coaching, sometimes we have to give way for our people to make mistakes. Minsan, pag nagko-coach tayo, sabi natin, naku, mali yung sinasabi nitong kausap ko. Pero we should not be saying that. Because we need to let the employee or the talent realize it. Yes, you can ask questions so that they can validate at ma-realize nila, but we cannot impose. Because one of the cornerstone of coaching is we let the employee lead. No? At the same time, another cornerstone for coaching is we coach the whole person. So when we coach when we coach our coaching counterpart or our talent, it's very important for us that we look at it on a holistic perspective. Yes, there are times your coachee would tell you personal issues that's bugging them. It's okay. And it's our role to hear them out, listen to them, and so that they would be able to, sabi nga natin is, to be able to refresh themselves, no? Kasi minsan yung mga personal concerns, challenges, it also becomes a factor for them not to be able to deliver their performance target. And so, in that perspective, no, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, hindi, trabaho lang tayo. So, we need to listen to them. We need to help them process it. So that, sabi nga natin, mas go-getter sila. And so, as HR people, as leaders, what do we need to do or what do we need to possess to be a good coach? A lot of leaders would say, I need to be a subject matter expert. Hirap po akong mag-coach pag hindi ko subject matter expertise eh. Okay? But remember, in coaching, you don't need to be a subject matter expert. You don't need to be a subject matter expert to coach. Kaya tayo sa HR, pwede ba tayo mag-coach ng mga supervisors natin, okay, ng ating mga people on the line? Yes. Because you don't need to be a subject matter expert to coach. Minsan pa nga yung subject matter expertise natin, yun yung deterrent to coaching because the tendency is to tell them what needs to be done. Okay, but as a coach, what we need to possess is we should be able to ask powerful questions. The power of questions. That's why I mentioned about probing. I mentioned about well thought of questions. Because these are important because this will trigger your coachee or your talent to think through. Okay, so which is why it's very important that you prepare, okay, questions and be ready to make follow-through questions during the conversation. Second is active listening. Active listening. So what does that mean, Vian? So we'll listen carefully to what is being said. Okay? So in my experience, no, I always tell this that active listening is listening to what is being said and listening to what is not being said. Talks about sensing as well. So when you do coaching, sometimes our people or our coachee or our coaching counterpart tells something and you sense that he meant differently. And it would be good to paraphrase so that they would be able to clarify even their own thoughts. In coaching, the way I look at it is we act as the mirror of the coachee. So ano ba yung mirror? Parang si Tito Boy Abunda, no? So, Vian, ito yung salamin. Anong sasabihin mo sa sarili mo? Okay, but that's really what is coaching. But instead of you talking to yourself, nagtitrigger tayo ng mga questions, okay, na sinasagot ng ating mga coachee. At habang sinasagot nila, mas naiintindihan nila, okay, kung ano yung gusto nilang gawin, mas naiintindihan nila ano yung mga dapat nilang gawin, at mas nagkakaroon sila ng confidence na kaya nilang gawin. Because remember, okay, the performance of an individual is measured between his or her potential less the interference. Okay, the interference, no, or the obstacles. And so therefore, we need to eliminate the interference. We need to eliminate the interference, and rather than eliminating interference, we apply coaching. And with that approach, we would be able to optimize the full potential, okay, of our people, and that full potential will be converted into performance. And so which is why sabi nga natin, coaching helps people or individual realize their full potential within their organization. And at the same time, this also helps the organization to drive performance so that it can continuously create business impacts, and it makes the organization sustainable in the long run. So I hope I can share more about coaching, but we have limited time, so I will park for this. But if you want to know more about coaching, or if you're interested to engage with me or engage with the organization, so you can reach me out, or you can reach out to me at Vivian at formideaph.com or at inquiries at formideaph.com. Allow me as well to share with you some events that I would be part of in the next month. So I think it was not mentioned, but I'm also an accountancy graduate by profession, and being a business leader, I've learned how to manage own business, okay, in my capacity as managing director and Asia as HR business partner. So if you would like to know more about cash flow and working capital management, so I have a partnership with Arriva, and I will be the one to facilitate that on the 17th. And of course, I'm a regular global training partner. So I'm the sole global training partner for International Human Resource Institute for their certified compensation and benefits professional. So this is very specialized for total rewards practitioner. And in line thereof, we would like to invite CCBB graduates and those who are interested in total rewards to participate in the first compensation and benefits conference to be held on June 1 and June 2. And part of your organization. So in terms of your advocacy to promote the HR practice, I'm also taking an active role this year with the HR Calabarzon group. So if you would like to join Jorina and I as we roll out an HR business partner learning series for the HR Calabarzon members, and even for non-members, you can reach out to Jorina or Nedi. We already had one session yesterday, and there will be series of sessions. There's one every first Saturday of the month. And I was also invited with HRR. So if you would like to know more about me and how I ventured into the HR career, so you may want to check out HRR, and you can also join our Viber group community. So with that, thank you very much, and I hope I was able to share with you some thoughts and insights about coaching. So thank you, Tina, Darwin, and Alan. Back to you.
Thank you so much for the very efficient webinar and presentation. We have so very, very, very. So with regards, we've talked about the grow method. Could you be a little bit more specific on how our listeners can use coaching in
Yes.
their businesses?
Okay, so for
Examples.
example, yes, when
Example.
we talk about setting performance goal, how do you do coaching? So tayo as leaders, no, instead of telling us, oh guys, this is what we need to do to deliver the business objectives. Rather than ganun yung maging approach natin, it's really more about highlighting ano yung overall goal ng business, okay, ano yung overall business target, and from there, we follow the GROW approach, asking them, so what do you think would be the best goal for us to achieve the overall target? And if you're applying in the team coaching, kasi pag team coaching, kasi more or less pag performance goal setting tayo, team yan eh, di ba? Okay, so you ask them one by one. And when you ask them one by one, you also ask them, how do you visualize it? So what do you mean? So that you are already setting your key performance indicators, di ba? What are the measurements of success? And once you're done with the goal, yan, you ask yourself, where are we right now? Yan, that's also a measurement. Baka naman mamaya, sinalagay natin yung goal, nandyan na pala tayo eh, di ba? So, kaya nga tayo naglalagay ng goal, it must be stretched. It must be something na we need to accomplish for the year. So, we can ask them and we can check them. Also, here we are. And from there, so what do you think should we do so that we can realize our goals based on where we are right now? And that's options or your action plans, diba? So when you are performance setting, so itong action plans na to, validate muna natin, is this the best way to do? Kasi I also do facilitate strategic planning session, diba? Normally, ang dami natin, gusto ko gawin to, gawin to, gawin to, gawin to. But reality is, unlimited ang resources natin, di ba? Sa mga inasal na lang daw, unlimited ang rice. So, doon na lang may unli. But now, resources are limited. So, with the limited resources that we have, ano yung pwede natin gawin na pwede pa rin ma-realize yung ating goal? Hindi pwedeng sabihin, Tina, Alan, ay wala. Hindi pwede, di ba? Meron pa rin. Given the limitations that we have in terms of resources. And by the way, lahat naman ng organization, no matter how big they are, walang unlimited resources. Resources will always be limited. And so with that, na-highlight na natin ano yung ating mga action plans. And then, when are we going to do it? When are we going to make things happen? And that's the way forward. So that's the performance goal setting. Okay, in the performance review, if you have informal performance review, okay, month on month or weekly or daily, you can check in ano yung goal na kailangan nating ma-achieve this week in align to our goals. And nasaan na tayo ngayon? Anong kailangan nating gawin? Okay? Ganun uli yung cycle. Anong reason for that? By applying that communication or conversation technique, natuturuan din natin yung ating mga tao to be able to think independently and to come up with a structured approach on how they think, di ba? Critically and logically, and how to make sure that all of the actions that they are doing is geared towards attaining their performance objectives. Kaya mas importante yan, hindi nagkaege or hindi nag-click yung sinabi kong gagawin ko, Tina, o ano na gagawin natin. It also makes us be more resilient. It would be able to bounce back immediately, no, kung meron man tayong hiccups or challenges along the way. So, for me, it can be embedded. It is now embedded onto the day-to-day conversation of leaders and people. So, kaya try nyo lang. Madali lang kasing i-apply yung grow technique compared to the other coaching models.
The question of Jangas Giovanni is related to our first question. Sabi niya, they have more than 10,000 employees nationwide and they set the PO every year, mid-year review and annual performance evaluation. He looks at it as compliance rather than creating an impact on employees and in the organization in general. How can they make it effective considering the location of their employees and the sheer number of it? Kasi baka pag tapos na sila dun sa PO nila, tapos na rin yung year.
Correct. So, and that's why, the good thing about now is we can leverage on technology. 'Di ba? So we can do Zoom, we can do Teams. Hindi katulad before, if I would like to talk to Alan at si Alan ay nasa ibang plant, I need to travel how many hours just to be able to talk to your people, 'di ba? One-on-one or as a team. Ngayon, Zoom na lang tayo or or MS Teams na lang tayo. Okay, but I agree, no? There is always the concept that performance review cycle is more of a compliance kasi binibilang natin, tapos na ba kayo? Okay, tapos na ba? Okay, but it's also a mindset. We also need to shift the mindset to make it more, sabihin natin, substantial in a way, which is why informal conversation matters because when you do informal conversations, mas nakakatulong siya na mag-shift yung mindset mo from being compliant to making sure that you achieve the results needed by the business. That's one, okay? Second is that when the purpose is just to comply, no, the intention is just to fill it up as a template. Okay? So which is why we also as leaders, kasi sa atin magsisimula to as leaders, we need to change the mindset, we need to shift it. And part of it is involving people as well. Ako nanggaling din ako sa isang company na when I came in, hindi nga kinakausap yung employee nire-rate na lang, no? So, and we changed that. Okay, it's difficult, but it's an effort. It's an effort that we need to take so that we can move forward, no? But take note, leaders, sometimes they felt pagod lang kasing kumausap ng tao nakakaabala sa BAU. And that will always be our pitfall. Kaya kailangan as leaders, we find time to do all of these things. Kaya di ba sa effective time management, you need to classify it between urgency and importance because we need to find time on the not so urgent matters but important to the organization because those are the things that will deliver success. Yes, BAU can make us efficient, but how we do it will make us be more effective. So, yun yung magiging differentiation natin. And it starts with the leaders kasi tayo yung nagmamanage ng performance And in one, I would say, no, in one company I've joined with, di ko nilang sasabihin yung name ng company, ineliminate muna namin yung performance review sa system. But we made sure is that kailangan may report yung mga leaders that they actually did coaching on a quarterly basis. And that actually sets the tone that, hey, this is not compliance, but this is more of the quality. Okay, the quality of how we now monitor performance. No? Because hindi kasi tayo pwede, yes, compliance is required for us, lalo na kung mandatory. Pero pag compliance, hindi din tayo mag-grow as a business. Mahihirapan tayo mag-accelerate, di ba? So, kaya kailangan natin ng mga tools and techniques to accelerate. Okay, yung tinatawag nating organization performance.
Mentor Alan, any inputs?
I agree with Vivian. I'm also teaching coaching embedded dyan sa performance management system. Ang madalas na reklamo ng mga leaders, yung ratio. There are some leaders na napakaraming tao na hawak nila and they cannot accommodate them all, lalo na kahit quarterly pa yan. Sa dami ng tao, they cannot manage their time so that they can perform quality coaching. Kaya natitempt tuloy sila na compliance, template na lang. Tapos, sige, sagutin mo to. Tapos, discuss na lang natin kung meron kang tanong. So, sabi ko, it defeats the purpose. So, saan gagaling yung problema? Maybe, sabi ko, sa organizational structure, you're assigned with so many people under you, isang leader, that the person is having trouble anymore in managing his own personal time on between yung pagko-coach ng mga tao tsaka yung accomplishing his own KPIs, no? Kaya ang tingin ko yung kailangan ding pag-usapan na there should be a limit to one leader or the structure itself, siguro pag-usapan nilang maigi so that hindi naman ma-burn out si coach on coaching too many people assigned to him. Kaya yung itong concern ni Jangas Giovanni, I think it has something to do with the quantity of people being coached by a certain coach. Dami mong coaches Tapos limited yung time. Tapos ang frequency ang dami. Siguro merong magandang insight si Ma'am that she can share with many of us na hindi pa nakikita ang magandang strategy to resolve that issue. Ano po experience niyo, Ma'am?
Ako kasi, no, kasi I also joined the shared service industry. Talagang minsan, no, one team leader, they have like 20 to 25 people.
Di
So,
ba?
and I always tell our managers, no, that it's also part of the development to duplicate and replicate yourself.
Yan.
Hindi naman
Exactly.
hindi naman kailangan ikaw lahat. The informal coaching conversation, that's why you can predict who are your hyper and hypo, who are your seasoned people. Okay, teach them the technique or transfer the knowledge and skills and coaching, and they can also be your arm, no, in developing it. So yun yung mga pwede nating gawin. We can duplicate and replicate ourselves, no, para mas maging quality yung approach natin. So that's us actually is also a good intervention for those people, okay, to develop their leadership capability rin naman, no. Lalo na ngayon, madami rin naman tayong mga roles or positions in the organization kay na individual contributors, no? So, and they are highly technical or expert as well. So kaya when you talk about coaching culture, the coaching is not only done, okay, by the manager themselves and to their
Or
direct reports.
supervisors.
Meaning, yes, it can be the employee can go to whoever they think, okay, would be able to help them realize their goals. So, kaya isang challenge natin yon. Let's duplicate and replicate ourselves. Padamihin natin yung pwedeng mag-coach dun sa ating team para when it comes to the informal coaching conversation, that will help you. Kasi totoo naman, madami din sa atin ngayon, hindi na 1:7 yung span of control. 1:20 or 1:50 na. Ayan. So, mas magiging efficient tayo.
And that leads me
This
to another concern. Kasi pwede mong i-assign ang coaching sa mga senior line leaders, basta yung mga line leaders who have some degree of seniority among
Correct.
ordinary employees. The only problem is if this assigned coach or coaches have not enough leadership skills, meaning in terms of active listening, in terms of credibility, being a coach, ikaw nga mismo, team leader namin, violator ka, tapos coach mo ko. Yun ang naging problema nila. They don't have enough coaches who have the credibility to do the coaching. So even if they train these people on how to coach, ang problema yung integrity and credibility na kasi ito yung matatagal na kumpanya na nagkaroon. Alam mo na, yung mga batang lumaki doon at maging matigas na yung ulo. Tapos, uy, magaling ka. Technically, gawin kitang team leader. Kasi ito na, mag-coach ka, patay. Doon na nagkakaroon ng problema. And I think that is something that we have to also think about being mga managers and supervisors, especially HR, when we're going to teach people to coach. Hindi lang tinuturo yung skill, yung pag-conduct ng grow or any other model. Tingnan din natin yung, siyempre, yung kanilang credibility as a leader to be a believable coach in the organization. At yun ang problema ng malalaking company na they don't have enough credible leaders who can coach dahil meron silang reputation as a coach, kundi nadidefeat dahil sa mga previous experiences nila. Yun lang po yung take ko dun.
I
Yeah,
understand.
that's good naman, Tina. I understand not everyone can be can be a coach, which is why it requires a certain level of training, no? So hindi pwedeng tomorrow coach na si Tina, which is why you practice it. But
Maturity nga more on maturity rather than the skill.
one
Yun ang
thing that
nakita ko.
I also observe is that Filipinos by nature are good mentors. We are good mentors. We love to share. We love to let people know how we did it in the past, no? So which is why when I talk about intervention, I always say you can start as a mentor, then you can transition into coaching. So it's the other way around as well. Kasi it also tama si Alan, it requires skills, no? It requires certain techniques. Hindi inaaral siya, pero kailangan kasi din nating magturo sa mga people below us eh. Otherwise, yun nga, mababurn out naman tayo. Tayo naman yung mababag down. So, but you also need to take note, if your supervisors cannot are not capable of conducting coaching conversation, then you need to find other people who can help you. And probably these are also the people that eventually would be leaders or managers of the organization na masusurpass pa nila yung mga existing supervisors, diba? Kasi now, coaching and mentoring are now becoming a requirement for people in leadership roles, no? So, kasi nag-shift na rin tayo ng ating direction, eh. Hindi na tayo directing ang approach, eh. More on influencing na yung approach natin on leadership.
Let us have a step back kasi we've already mentioned that. Na I think a lot of people are still confused on the definitions. Kasi everyone uses such certain terms interchangeably, but they're all different eh. Could you
Yes.
help us review what is the difference between mentoring and coaching and training and leading? Kasi usually
Teaching.
when when an
Kasama pa
HR,
yan.
'di ba? Like the management will always say, bigyan hindi marunong maging manager tong si XYZ. Bigyan mo na ng leadership training. But that might be different from bigyan mo ng training on coaching and
Yeah.
training on mentorship. 'Di ba? I mean, but we all halo-halo, ginawa natin ang halo-halo siya. Can you tell us again the difference between mentoring, coaching, training, and actually yung leadership training? 'Di ba?
Yes.
Na yun yung pinaka gusto-gusto. Bigyan mo ng leadership training. Tapos nag-leadership training nga 2 araw sa isang farm. Pagbalik pareho lang.
Yes. Okay. So, again, yung coaching, alam na natin. So, yung coaching, we do not impose, we do not tell them what to do, but by asking question and actively listening, tinuturuan or natutulungan natin yung ating mga coachee kung ano ba yung best way to take. Pagdating naman sa mentoring, mentoring is more of a relationship. Okay, so mentoring goes beyond the conversation. So as a mentor, you are a connector and sponsor. Halimbawa, si Alan, mentor ko, no, but not necessarily my boss. Then nakita ni Alan, oh, Vivian needs training pa on finance kasi as a manager, she needs to learn yung mga financial reports, how to read financial reports, etc. So, pwedeng sabihin ni Alan do sa HR, pakisend naman si Vivian sa training kasi kailangan niya itong mga matutunan. So, that's sponsoring. Or, connecting, Alan felt like, uy, hindi man ako expert sa finance eh. Iko-connect ko si Vivian kay Tina kasi si Tina is an expert in finance. So, kino-connect ko siya. Pero ikaw, responsible ka dun sa overall growth ng iyong protege. Okay, so saan pumapasok yung conversation sa mentoring? Of course, because it's a relationship, there's a back and forth communication, like yung nag-uusap, but the kind of communication that you do, no, it's really more about the protege asking you questions on certain things kasi pwedeng bawa si Tina may naiisip na project, okay, and she will ask Alan kung ano ba sa tingin niya yung mga magagandang gawin dun sa project na to kasi it's something that he or she has not experienced yet. Ako, ang ginagawa ko, sinasabi ko, the approach of the mentor should be sharing of experience. How they've done it in the past. And as much as possible, share at least 2 or more experience para yung ating protege or employee magkakaroon ng point of reference. Alin ba dapat? Alin ba yung sa tingin ko mas applicable dun sa project ko? But ako, like kung sinasabi, after that, tanungin nyo rin, so alin sa tingin mo yung nag-work for you? Okay, and then process them. No? Kaya sa mentoring, may active listening pa rin. Pero the sharing of experience, hindi sa talent. Nandun siya ngayon sa mentor. Yan. So, syempre, sabi nga natin, ano ba yung leadership? So, nung panahon ko, naku, malalaman yung age ko. Pero dati-dati, pag sinabi mong leading, it's about authority. You're a supervisor. So, you are a manager. But now, when you talk about leading, it's about influencing. How influential are you within your organization? And the mindset also change. Hindi na kasi siya leadership na influencing people below you. Leadership is also influencing the people below, above, and beside you. Kasi hindi na kasi silo ngayon yung ating business operations. Pag napansin nyo ngayon, hindi katulad before, kaya mong i-deliver yung objective mo na kayo lang ng department mo nagtatrabaho. But now it's different. Bago ko magawa yung isa kong deliverable, ay naku, kailangan kong kausapin si Alan. kailangan ko mag-collaborate kay Tina, kailangan ko makipag-usap kay ganito. It's a little bit complex already. So which is why it would be good when you talk about leadership that you are not only able to influence people below you, but also the people na katabi mo. Kasi mahirap naman na lagi kang pupunta sa boss mo tapos very bureaucratic and hierarchical yung approach natin ng collaboration and coordination bago matapos yung inyong mga deliverables, baka 2 years, tapos na yung inyong performance objective. And of course, yung training is yung transfer natin ng knowledge. So this is now where sabi ko nga, yung intervention. Yung training kasi, iba-iba rin yung approach. Merong on-the-job training. So more on exposure to the actual work on how it's gonna be done. Pwede din naman yung formal classroom training or yung tinatawag natin mga webinar ngayon, the transfer of knowledge, di ba? So those are also interventions that can help you. Yan. So, but that's just how I define it na hindi masyadong textbook ha. Kasi based on how I applied it.
We'd like to greet Jex Salunga, who is greeting and tagging her friends. Michelle Irish Malonda Samson is greeting everyone. Happy Sunday. Jem CC is saying, Ma'am Vivian, we look forward to listening to your talk today. I really learned a lot from you yesterday. Hi to all the mentors and thank you for this learning opportunity. Jing Dumasig Gokong Buta is watching from Iligan, Mindanao. Daday Kalahe Dino is watching from Parañaque. Alexer Flores is asking about the growth technique daw. If applicable ba siya sa construction setup or baka may masasuggest po kayo?
Yeah, actually, it's also applicable in the construction setting and actually in any business setting because it's a conversation approach. That's the good thing about the grow model. It's a conversation approach that you can integrate anywhere. In fact, even in terms of how you ask your people when you give a task to your staff, you can do it in a grow approach. Sasabihin mo lang instead of Tina do this, sasabihin mo lang, ay Tina, we need to complete this exercise today. So what do you think? What we should be doing, di ba? So you can apply it in your everyday, sabi nga natin, daily lingo or usual lingo. So it may be a little bit different do sa mga nakagawian natin kasi sanay tayo direct to the point. Pakigawa nga nito. So but then again, when you apply it, okay, sa una hindi madali. In fact, I must admit kaya ako nagpa-certify kasi hirap ako mag-coach before kasi I'm the type of person. Sabihin ko na lang sa'yo, Tina, what to do. Di na kita tatanungin, ang tagal-tagal di ba? So, but through patience and through continuous practice, kaya nakukuha din natin yung technique. No? Kaya in the past, when I first started coaching, meron talaga akong mga guide questions, gumagawa ako ng mga questions ko, nagpa-pile up ako, no? Kaya hanggang sa mas nasasanay tayo, mas nagiging conversational tayo. So, talagang practice makes perfect when you talk about coaching.
Tapos may tanong din is, sino usually ang gumagawa? Like, we do our performance evaluation per department. Who is the right person to do one-on-one coaching? Si HR ba? Si department head? Si team leader? Sino ba talaga? This is the question of Joanna.
Okay. So, iba-iba kasi, Tina, depending dun sa organization dynamics. I've seen a lot of organizations na in-embed nila yung coaching conversation in the day-to-day performance or week to week, basta daily or operational performance. So in that particular case, no, si manager or kung sino yung immediate supervisor or manager, siya yung nagmamanage ng coaching conversation. Okay? Kasi mas direct, mas related to the task. In some organizations wherein coaching is used as intervention to accelerate the development of their high-performing and high-potential talent, they either get coaches from the outside or they assign talents to senior leaders in the organization but not necessarily in the same business unit. Okay, let me give you an example. So, halimbawa, HR ako, and when I used to be with a global power company, so we have coaching. So, meron kami internal and external coaches. Dun sa mga internal coaches namin, even though I'm HR, I'm coaching a talent from another business unit, not necessarily HR. Because the intention, no, is to grow the talent because they are part of the succession plan. There are also some organizations who hire external talents, okay, or external coaches to help their executives or their senior leadership grow into a different role. At ang kagandahan ng coaching, sabi nga ni Alan kanina, and I also shared this a while ago, hindi mo kailangang subject matter expert dun sa function na yon. So kaya in my past experiences as executive coach, I was able to coach leaders from sales, okay, from IT, no, because it's not about your subject matter expertise. It's about how you ask questions, how you actively listen, no, and how you engage your coachee as well. Yan. Kaya iba-iba yung pwedeng maging coach depende sa kung ano yung gusto ninyong direction okay, nung negosyo sa pag-apply ng intervention.
We have a question from Darwin. Sabi niya, what would be the best approach for entry-level personnel? Coaching, mentoring, or teaching?
Okay, so if it's an entry level, it may be directing for the beginning. Kasi kung wala pa naman siyang alam, definitely you hire some talents na kahit konti pa lang yung know-how nila, high potential sila. Meaning agile sila to learn. So you need to gauge because if that's the kind of talent you have, then you can possibly apply mentoring, di ba? So which is why for entry level, it's more about directing or mentoring. So and then once they are able to, sabi nga natin, grow into the role, acquire experiences, nararamdaman naman ng leader yun no? Pag tinatanong natin yung talent, you can venture into coaching para mas mag-transition din, no? So, but coaching or mentoring, which one is best? Parehong okay yan So, it really depends on the type of intervention that you would like to apply for the organization.
We have a comment from Jerry Plana saying integrating coaching in PMS means substituting a coaching-like conversation instead of a directive conversation in goal setting. So you're not gonna be, ito dapat gawin mo, ito dapat gawin mo.
Yes.
It's the way how you do it. And
Correct.
review of performance. Coaching should not be viewed as an additional conversation that needs to be undertaken.
Correct.
So tama naman pong yun. Parang
Thank
mas
you.
mahaba
And
pa
hi,
rin kasi
Jerry. Yan. I know Jerry So hi, Jerry. Thanks for tuning in.
Jangas Giovanni has a follow-up. Sabi niya, the result of performance evaluation has an impact kasi on salary increase. For comparison, other departments rate their subordinates with exceeded expectation. But I know how they perform. While us, no matter how hard we try, it's impossible to reach that exceeds expectation. Kasi depende kung sino
Yes.
nag-rate, di ba? So with this, what would be the best action to eliminate or at least minimize this problem?
Okay. So actually, just to be very if we're gonna be technical about it, performance review is different from salary review. You can do a performance review without giving salary increase, and you can do a salary increase without doing a performance review. So these are two independent exercise. It's just that, naging tradition natin to link in, no? And which is why it's also important to calibrate the performance rating of leaders. When I used to be in the HR practice, after the performance rating, we sit down as leaders in the organization, and we find time calibrating so that your meets expectations is similar to my definition of meets expectations. Kasi minsan doon tayo nagkakaroon ng problema. Merong high raters, merong low raters. Meron ako naging manager, sabi ko, so if the performance is outstanding, why 4? Why not 5? Sabi niya, because I don't believe in 5. May mga ganon. So you eliminate those by calibrating, di ba? Yung iba naman, why 4? Because they're able to deliver the target. So sabi ko, di ba 3 lang yon? Yan. They may not feel good about it. So that's why leaders must calibrate para mas madali tayong mag-cascade dun sa mga tao natin. And in fact, in one organization I've been with, ang una-una namin sinabi, meets expectation is good. Because it meant you are delivering. Okay, so
akala ng tao pasang-awa kasi.
Yes, that's it. That's why yung una namin ginawang culture, you need to be happy pag naka-3 or meets expectations. 'Di ba? Kasi yung iba gusto nila 4 kasi sila happy ng 3.
Oo.
Tapos ako naman, bakit hindi sila happy ng 3? Eh, ibig nga sabihin nun, na-meet mo yung performance mo, 'di ba? So, yun.
Kasi
So,
pasang-awa.
calibration of leaders is needed. Others, I'm not saying do that, ha? But others are doing the bell curve to calibrate. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
important is calibrate.
Mary Caballero is saying, good program as always. Mary Shower M. Magrenio is asking, Sammy, thanks for this very timely webinar topic. In our company, our coaching sections are documented in our online learning management system for easy access and monitoring both for the coach and the coaches. Shout out to my HRA team in Sarangani Energy Corporation. I'm watching from General Santos City. Daghan salamat, coaches. Pero ma'am, how would you recommend for companies na walang coaching program at all? Kasi
Okay.
many companies don't have that. Oh,
Okay.
what are
Yung
the
iba
steps?
naman nagpapa-train on ng coaching pero hindi man nag-i-implement, o 'di ba? So,
Mm.
yan. So, I think what is important more is as leaders or as HR is we start embedding it in our conversation. So, yung iba kasi naghihintay na, ay, dapat mag-launch yung company namin ng ganito, dapat mag-launch yung company natin ng ganyan. So, we can start it sa sarili natin eh. So now that we get to know more about grow, what is coaching, pwede pala to sa performance management as what Jerry have said, performance conversation, baka pwede natin pag-aralan more, then apply natin dun sa team natin, apply natin sa mga kasama natin sa work. So kung wala pa tayo, it's something that we can embed. At pag nakita nyo na maganda yung resulta, no, maganda yung naging output, yan. So that's how you will be able to influence other leaders. Lagi kong sinasabi, tayo sa HR, we are easily disheartened pag yung ating mga proposals or programs hindi agad binayin ng senior leaders. I'm not sure if this will work for you, but this works for me in the past. What I do is I've thought of an idea, I find a partner in operations na alam kong bibilhin niya yung idea ko and I influence the person or the leader. Tingnan natin, ginipig naman natin. No? So naggiginipig ako, yung small, you starts it small. And then, pwede namin, oy, may result, di ba? Si leader, magyayabang siya, I've done this, ha? Ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Kasi nakikita mo yung resulta in terms of the operations. And then it gets traction. And then now it's time for you. So what is more important is you start it rather than not to take a step, baby step. Baby step actually importante sa atin. Okay? And pag nakita natin na nag-start yan mag-produce ng mga maliliit na success, then eventually it will get traction from your other business leaders. Okay? Para hindi din tayo na frustrate. Basta ang importante is makita nila that we are applying it. Apply it to your team first, to your HR team. Kasi lagi tayo, ay, frustrated ako, hindi binili ni Tina yung aking programa, but reality is hindi mo nga in-apply dun sa ating team. Start mo muna sa ating team, di ba? Tapos makikita nila, yan, bakit efficient yung HR mo ngayon? Bakit mas effective sila? Bakit parang mas empowered sila? Then now, that's the time for you to start the conversation with the other departments. So
A
that's
lot
how
of a lot of companies, they promote leaders based on tenure or
Yes.
based on
Technical
output.
expertise.
Kunyari, tenure,
Yes.
matagal na, 10 years na. So, na yun, bibigyan kita ng tao kasi pwede ka na maging manager. Number 2, based on output. Ang galing mo. Ikaw yung pinaka-bestseller namin sa company. So, ang gagawin namin, i-assign ka namin ng tao para turuan mo silang magbenta tulad mo. Manager
Yes.
ka na ngayon. Or yung pangatlo is parang wala ng tao na nag-resign na lahat. So, ikaw na lang natitira. So, ikaw
Correct.
ginawang manager para ikaw yung mag-hire tsaka mag-train ng team mo. So, you're the one building a team. Which, my point lang is, a lot of managers become managers for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
They don't necessarily have that leadership capability. They just became managers due to circumstance. And some don't even want to be managers. Kasi in the Philippines, pag manager ka, walang 13th month pay, holiday pay, overtime pay, tanggal yun eh. Right? So, minsan, if pag sales ka, mas gusto pa maging agent. Kasi mas mataas ang komisyon ng ahente kaysa ng sales manager, which only gets a random bonus based on how well you manage your team. So my question to both of you experts is, given that in the Philippines, it seems that many leaders enter the role of leadership for the wrong reasons, how can managers now or management now recalibrate the proper training of leaders, kasi not necessarily pag leader ka or manager ka ng isang department, you have that administrative skill as well to become a leader. Kasi like for example, yung performance evaluation, yung head ang gumagawa din, may sign off eh. Pero not necessarily pag ikaw yung department head, expertise mo yun. At minsan, may pag sales ang galing mo, I just want to visit clients, I don't want all the paperwork. Hanapan mo na lang ng secretary to do my paperwork for me. I just want to sell. And I just want to get paid. I'm happy just selling. But you're in a management position and you have people under you. Given that gap, how would, pag nakita mo, nagko-consult kayo, yun yung pagbukas mo ng pintuan, ganito yung leadership structure ng isang organisasyon. Yung maraming leaders by name, maraming managers by name, pero wala talagang alam sa pagli-leader. Diba? How would you help the company fix this problem?
Okay, no. So it's common kasi that you promote someone who is technically good in a leadership role as a reward, or because he or she has been with the company for so long. Okay, and so therefore, pagdating na doon na tayo nagkakaroon ng problema, because yung pinakamagaling mong individual contributor may not necessarily be yung pinakamagaling mong leader. Okay. So which is why mas maganda kung yung mga company may mga career tracks, 'di ba? Na you are continuously growing kahit ikaw ay individual contributor, kasi ang nangyayari nagiging reward yung promotion.
Yes.
Okay? But if you have a different career track, mas ma-address mo 'yon. Pero paano 'yun? Nandito na tayo eh. Nandito na tayo. Diba? So one of the thing that I do is I always tell nung una when I was young, I would always say, ay, mahina tong leader na to, di ba? Siguro through aging, baka kasama na rin doon yung wisdom. I've already, I'm checking in what are their strengths. There must be a reason as to why they are in this role. It's tenure, but there's something about tenure. There's something about technical experience. At ang maganda sana is if we cannot confine yung mga tao natin kung ano yung intervention na gagawin nila. So halimbawa, katulong nabanggit ni Alan kanina, some really are having difficulty doing coaching conversations.
Yes.
Some really are having difficulty. And I'm trying to check in, can you be a mentor? If you can be a mentor, then our role as HR is to engage them in a conversation on how they can bring out their best when it comes to their strength. So it's now really optimizing the strength of your leaders and try to look for someone to fill in the gap. Okay, so example, yung mga na-promote because of their years of experience, yan ay based on trust, confidence, and technical expertise. So let them manage the trust, experience, the confidence level, and yung technical expertise. So find someone who will partner with them, or pwedeng hindi naman assistant leader, but find someone who is sturdy enough who would be able to manage the team or lead the team. So that's the equation. Or if you cannot find one, that's where HR needs to be of a balance. Ang maganda naman ngayon in my dealing with millennials and zennials, kasi whether we like it or not, sila na ang leaders ngayon. May mga nakikita na tayong millennials na leaders na ngayon, di ba? So they are now the leaders. They are very open to feedback and constructive criticism. So, kung ikaw kakausapin mo Gen X na tulad ko, break it to me gently ka eh. Tapos kahit sasabihin ko sa'yo, Alan, I understand. Paglabas ko, medyo masama pa rin ang loob ko eh. Pero sila, they're more open to feedback. So, we need to take responsibility in HR to make sure that they are the leaders that we have for the organization. And continuous conversation, continuous feedbacking, mas madali silang mag-accept. Yung acceptance level is mataas. But if you don't tell them kung anong kailangan nilang baguhin, know it all ang dating, di ba? So, yun yung kailangan naman natin sa HR. How to build that kind of relationship with our managers, that we are open in giving them feedback, and that when we give feedback to them, it's for their it's for their development, not as a criticism or not because ayaw lang natin sa kanila. Kaya kailangan tayo sa HR kahit medyo naiinis tayo sa ating mga managers. Alam ko naman yun eh. Meron tayong favorite na manager at meron tayong not so favorite na manager. We need to be very objective about it para hindi makita ng mga tao na we are biased towards certain types of leadership.
Sir Alan?
Okay, ang tanong mo kasi is accidental managers. Nandiyan na sila
Maraming
sa
yun. Hindi
position
lang accidental. Halos lahat.
and hindi hindi nila kagustuhan na sila yung maging manager or leader because of circumstance. Nandiyan sila sa position. However, as an owner, kailangan would be able to lead their team and achieve certain goals na makakontribute sa strategic goals ko as an owner. Halimbawa, ano gagawin mo? The first thing that an HROD professional should do, internal, no, tagaloob, is to conduct a competency assessment per individual. Alamin mo kung ano ang kalakasan at kahinaan, mention na kanina ni Ma'am Vivian, the strengths and weaknesses in terms of competencies and what are the required competencies for each of these managers para makakontribute ang gusto. Therefore, the training that you're going to provide them would be customized according to their needs and according to how they can contribute to your organization. Ang madalas kasing ginagawa ng maraming organization, they will just provide a generic training for all managers, ma-MDP kayo lahat, dadaan kayo lahat na dyan. Magiging waste of money, waste of time din ng mga atin. Kasi sabihin ng iba, hindi ko naman kailangan to, tagal ko na sa kumpanya. Mas very sophisticated na ang kailangan ko. More on strategic, more on something else. Yung mga baguhan naman, nako, highfalutin. Hindi ko yata maintindihan, masyadong mabigat. So there is no clear competency assessment that was conducted beforehand. Kaya tuloy, nasasayang. Kaya sabi ng iba, sir, ang hirap yan pag gumawa kang customized training for individuals. Ang mahal niyan. Bawat isa, hindi naman kailangan gawing mahal. Right now, we have the technology. Biyakin mo isang program na two-day program ng management development program. Hati-hatiin mo into modular format and deploy it as an individual webinar. So, kukunin ko lang, halimbawa ako'y baguhan, kukunin ko lang yung mga basic na kailangan ko. Yun namang intermediate, kukunin ko lang yung mga modules na kailangan ko that I can deliver already. And also with the senior managers na, ba't ko kukunin ulit yung basics? Kunin ko lang yung mas matataas. Meron ka na ngayon napakaraming bits and pieces of modules that they can select from a menu of training programs available in your company na hindi kayang gawin before. Ngayon kaya nang gawin. In a matter of days, you can already deploy that in your internal websites or intranet that they can that these people, these leaders would be able to enroll in. Gawin mong pre-recorded. Di mas lalong matipid, no? Mas lalong matipid. Minsan mo lang ni-record yung mukha mo, pero a lot of people are attending your training program all at the same time in different regions sa isang company na regionally dispersed in the country or in the globe, no? And that's a very, very, very creative. Hindi mo kailangan gumastos. You only need to tap those talents in your organization who can help you create that kind of curriculum. So, summarize ko lang, competency assessment or training needs assessment on an individual basis. Provide training that can target those gaps and deploy it using technology to become more efficient and effective. Yun yung tamang approach sa aking palagay, which is very, very effective so far na intervention na ginagawa ko sa mga clients ko. That's my take.
Back to what you mentioned before and our recent comment about online learning management systems. And we talk about coaching, which entails active listening, and there should be waiting for feedback. Is it possible to integrate coaching in an online management learning system, given that nandun, di ba, there has to be some sort of interaction. Minsan kasi, if it's online learning management system lang, some people might be listening in or naka-open talaga yung speaker, which is uso ngayon sa mga trainings, pero hindi naman talaga nakikinig, maraming ibang ginagawa, but they're just doing it as a requirement for their
Okay.
performance review.
Pag one-on-one kasi, wala silang choice but to give their full attention. Pag one-on-one, mas madali mong ma-detect yung non-verbal at saka non-visual cues. Now, yung coachee on the other side of the coin, alam niyang ino-observe siya, bukas yung video niya, bukas yung microphone niya. Siyempre, may certain parameters and requirements kang ibibigay that the person must meet para maging effective yung inyong coaching. And aware siya na ino-observe mo yung kanyang non-verbal and non-visual. Kaya kailangan talagang nakatutok yung mata niya sa screen or sa camera. The moment na may binaba niya yung mata niya, pwede mo i-check, are you doing something else? Would you like to focus on what we're talking about? O sige, malumanay lang. Huwag naman natin boljakin, hindi ka coach nun. Or something like that. Kasi I don't see any reason why you cannot do coaching online. Kasi ang daming companies ngayon na geographically dispersed and some of their staff members are deployed in the different provinces. Kailangan pa rin nila mag-coach. Why not? You have the technology. Gawin mong ganito ang kailangan ganyan. Kita mo yung kamay, kita mo yung half body or maski pa hanggang dito lang, kita mo yung muka parang kaharap mo lang siya. And use a big screen para mukhang nasa harap mo lang yung tao. Kitang-kita mo kung tumutulo yung pawis, yung
Coaching is
nagtitwik dito.
one-on-one?
Something like that.
Coaching is one-on-one na Mas Vivian?
One-on-one
Or is it
ang
for a
para
group?
sa akin mas effective.
Kasi may nangyayari ngayon, remote learning now has opened our eyes to all the kalokohans that a student can listen to. I've seen people change their Zoom background into them actively listening and then pretending in a group of 100 people that they're actually listening. Ang problema pag break, nakikinig pa rin.
Nandun pa rin sila kasi yun pala yung background nila.
I've seen people na sira.
Something went wrong to your audio, Tina.
Sorry, sabi parang video malabo.
Nawala.
So ang question lang is, do you think everybody has the capability to be a coach?
Akin ba yun?
I think there's some problem with Tina's audio, but this is my take on online learning. Kasi during the pandemic, we really are exposed to online learning, no, as to what Alan have said. And I could not say that it's not effective, but I couldn't say that it's effective. It really depends on the willingness, no, of the learners to acquire knowledge through that kind of program. Like I have a good partnership with a client, no, na talagang yung kanilang mga participants kahit online kami, talagang very active, no? So meron din naman na talagang sabi mo nga Tina, akala mo nandun yung pala picture lang yung nandun kasi nagawa na nila ng sa Zoom background. So in fact, when you facilitate an online learning program, it's more challenging to the facilitator. I think Alan will agree with me because you're not just managing the program per se, you're managing also the people and make sure that you keep them interested throughout the workshop. Okay. And at the same time, you're doing some sa mga technical mo, 'di ba? Kasi kailangan tumatakbo yung slides mo, kailangan everything is properly arranged, no? So ako which is why when I do online learning sessions, which I think Tina you've joined several times, I apply workshops because I still apply the 70-20-10 approach, no? Kaya I do that to make sure that hey, nakuha mo ba yung pinag-usapan natin? That's one. Second, I share my experience para katulad nito, paano ba yung ginagawa, no? And 10, it's still the transfer of knowledge. Kasi kailangan din talaga yung transfer of knowledge. Yung na-mention kasi ni Alan kanina, I agree with that, which is why you need to measure your people based on a leadership competency and make it more individualized. Ngayon, ang naging problem natin during the pandemic is limited ang mga budget for training. That's a reality. Ayan, di ba? And um, I'm a facilitator. I earn from conducting learning sessions. Ayan. But I'm a believer of the on the job training. So which is why we need to be creative. How do we make sure? Pag sinabi kasi natin on the job training, it it requires parang hindi lang naman siya sa mga interns, no? So it's about how do you expose someone to other functions, no? It's about immersion, it's about developmental assignment, it's about cross-posting. So kung limited yung ating budget, we can also do that. That's actually a very good tool as well for learning. But there is still some knowledge that you really have to acquire certain technique kasi hindi mo pa talaga alam. So for example, hindi mo pa talaga alam yung coaching. I will really suggest you attend a session or a program, a learning program on coaching. So hindi naman pwedeng basta tayo mag-coach nang hindi natin alam yung technique, no? At tayo mismo, we didn't went through the process. So pagdating sa transfer of knowledge, I still believe na may time pa rin kailangan umattend ng mga formal. Hello? Hello? Is it Alan? Can people hear me? Sir Alan? Sir Alan?
Hello?
Can you hear me ba? Nag-mute ba si Ma'am Mana? Hello? Hello? Oh my God. Is go ahead. Hello?
I think we're having some technical issues. Ma'am Vivian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay,
Ma'am
okay.
Tina,
Go.
can you hear me?
Yes, okay.
Yun.
Yan.
Biglang nawala eh.
Go ahead. Go ahead lang, Ma'am Vivian.
Yeah, so I still, parang pwede naman tayo mag-apply ng mga on-the-job training. So like immersion, developmental assignment, cross-posting, but meron pa rin talagang kailangan natin ng formal training kasi kailangan na acquisition ng knowledge and skills. So yun yung, di ka pwedeng, sabi nga natin, madaling sabihin yung coaching, pero how to do it, di ba? You need to learn more about it so that you can start embedding it or practicing it. So ngayon, kung ano yung applicable sa atin, depende sa learner style natin. But what we need to highlight then to our people right now is that training is an investment. So parang kala kasi natin pag online learning, we can do so many things at the same time. Pero hindi eh. So pag ganun yung approach, baka mas maganda face-to-face kung hindi kaya ng learner mo yung 100% attention during online, di ba? Um, pero kung kaya, that's something that you can also think of kasi more economical pagdating sa organization.
We're
I think,
almost at
ma'am,
the end.
the question is, um, when your people are geographically dispersed, dalawa no? Would you recommend that you conduct coaching online since hindi practical na papunta pa sila sa Maynila lahat or
Yeah.
ikaw pumunta isa-isa sa province? Next question is, same with the training. Hindi rin practical na padala mo sila sa Maynila, magkano per dime bawat isa nun, pamasahe, etc. Versus doing it online since they are all out there. So, yun ang sinasabi ko na pinaka-practical, gamitin nyo ng technology. Kung wala pa, bakit hindi mag-install? Libre lang naman yan. At magkano lang naman kung kuha ng monthly. Ang point dito is, we have to be creative. Now, back to my question, pagdating sa coaching, do you find it advisable for the leaders to conduct it online kapag ganun ang sitwasyon nila? Or would you still look up to the management na sana po budgetan nyo na punta sila rito? Like what many companies are doing right now, pinipilit nila mag one-on-one ng face-to-face kahit hindi practical. Dahil, because they don't believe in online coaching. What do you think? What's your advice?
I may be biased, no, because I've done online coaching during the pandemic, and until now, I'm doing executive coaching via online.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, when you talk about one-on-one coaching, it doesn't matter whether it's online or whether it's face-to-face. I've done both, online and face-to-face, no. So, but sometimes it's really the preference of the coachee that he felt that he is more able to engage himself pagka face-to-face kasi walang kaharap na computer. Ayan. Pero kung magfe-face-to-face kayo, pero nandun din naman yung computer, kaharap din niya, edi bali wala din, di ba? Okay, so but then again, pagka naman online, I always tell the coachee, this is just 1 hour. Di ba? This is just 1 hour of your time. Mabubuhay pa naman yung kumpanya nyo na hindi ka nakatingin sa email mo ng 1 hour. Ganon. So, and normally naman, it work naman. So, but then again, pag online, it would really be good to set the expectations already from the very beginning na dapat open ang camera as what Alan have said. That's very important. Kasi that's also your measurement kung nakikinig pa or hindi pa nakikinig, no? And yun lang, you need to sometimes repeat it kasi minsan nagkakaroon ng mga technical difficulty. I've experienced that already. But in essence, hindi ko siya naramdaman na very significant yung sabi nating negative effect kasi online hindi naman so even based on the feedback then by the coaches, no. So I think it's really about the way you engage your coachee in the exercise at yung kanila ding learner style.
Exactly. Yung quality ng questions,
Mm-mm.
yung follow-up yung ng questions hanggang sa makuha natin yung mga gusto nating sagot at mag-guide natin yung discussion towards what we want to become, the outcome. Using Grow as your model and other models merong available. Yun lang po yung nakikita ko rin. Tama po, ma'am. I believe in you.
We're almost at the end of the show. Can we have some last words from Miss Vivian? And then also to promote your latest projects. And then next si Sir Alan, and then me as the last.
Okay, so again, no, since most of the participants in the room or in Facebook are all HR practitioners, no. So I just would like to highlight na when you talk about human resources management, nakakahon kasi tayo minsan with the BAUs, with the business as usual, no? And on the processes that we need to deliver, okay, as HR practitioners. So what we can do is to slowly integrate, no, yung mga naririnig natin or mga nadidiscover nating intervention. Like ko din sinasabi sa mga HR practitioners, do not be afraid, ayan, to experiment, no. Or when I say experiment, is hindi naman buong organization. Or when I say experiment, is to try something new within the organization. And most importantly, no, it's very important for us to listen to what the business needs are. Okay, rather than focus on our functional expertise as HR. So it's always good to take note. Ano ba yung kailangan ng aming operations team so that you would know how you will be able to support them very well. Okay, and with that, dun din tayo makakakuha ng mga interventions, no, na kailangan nating i-apply, okay, or i-roll out dun sa ating mga businesses. Okay, so ako yun yung lagi sinasabi ko, wag kayong matakot mag-explore. Yan, wag kayong matakot mag-check-in. At wag din kayong matakot i-apply it into a smaller unit at na makita nyo whether it works best for your organization. And most importantly, do not be restrained by the limitations of the resources, okay, that is being bestowed upon HR. There are so many things na meron na ngayon na wala dati. Online platforms, social media, Google, diba, the internet, they can all help us, no, in making sure that we are able to continuously manage our people, diba, grow our leaders so that our organization would be successful. So, mindset lang din na hindi lang tayo about people, okay, minamanage din natin yung ating mga leaders, okay, because we are all part of the ecosystem of the organization. And then again, thank you very much, Tina, Alan, and Darwin for inviting me over. So pakita ko lang ulit sa screen baka so just to give you some thoughts. So again, if you would like to to hear more from me, you can chat me or you can send me an email at Vivian at formideaph.com. So that's Tina, that's the new organization that we built. No? So we expanded the organization into different business streams. So we offer different types of solutions to businesses, more on, we call it servicification approach because it's a holistic approach when it comes to providing solutions. So, but it's not limited to HR and leadership. So I have a number of partners who's also engaged in continuous improvement, okay, and in other facets of leadership role and operational excellence. Then, if you want to know more about compensation and benefits, if you want to develop your expertise on that. So Tina also attended the program. Thank you. So you may want to enroll in the Certified Compensation and Benefits Program, being sponsored by International Human Resources Institute. And sabi ko nga, I also work with the HR Calabarzon in some of their e-learning free webinar series. So you may also want to check out their learning series as well. And from time to time, they also feature me on that one. And again, maraming salamat Philippine HR Group for inviting me over. I hope I was able to share kahit konti lang, no, when it comes to HR and leadership practice. Salamat Tina, Alan, and Darwin.
Madami kang na-share, ma'am. And thank you sa mga sharings ninyo. Okay, ako na ba, Tina?
Yes, sir.
Okay, dalawang bagay. Unang-una gusto ko magpasalamat sa lahat ng tumangkilik nung aking 555 Labor Day promo. Yung 2,800 worth na course, 8 courses yun, in-offer ko ng 555 in favor of yung mga newbies natin na gustong matuto. Overwhelming po yung response and access, and thank you very much. At meron nagre-request na sana i-offer ko ulit. Pinag-isipan pa ng aming marketing group. Pangalawa, we will be offering, ito naman iba, AI-assisted or AI-enhanced courses. Magsisimula po kami sa unleashing the power of Excel. Hindi lang yung Power Query, hindi lang yun, kundi how can you use AI to supercharge your Excel? Magiging 10 times more intelligent ang Excel sa inyong trabaho, lalo na sa HR, kapag ginamitan ito at in-integrate ang AI. And with that, may mga kasunod ba kami mga courses na HR assisted or enhanced with AI. So paano nyo ma-harness yung power ng artificial intelligence sa inyong mga trabaho? Abangan kasi i-roll out po namin yung series of courses na AI assisted HR and management courses. Dan po. Yun lang po. Thank you so much.
I think today's seminar reminds us why Miss Vivian Cruz is one of the most esteemed HR trainers in the Philippine industry as of late. She's trained so many experts, gurus, all around throughout the pandemic. So thank you so much for guesting. But I think it's also a reminder how important communication is. A lot of leaders are now in management roles, but they're so busy being managers, they don't take a lot of time talking to everybody else under them. How many managers actually know the names of the people under them? Some do not even know what the names are. Alam lang niya, mataas, maliit, mapayat, maputi, maitim, right? And for me, as an end user, I always judge the strength of a business based on how good and efficient what the lowest ranking staff is. So ako, 'di ba, when I go and eat in restaurants, example na para so everyone can understand, I always like to eat in Mang Inasal. Tumaas na presyo niya. Pero when you see how fast the busboy wipes the tables, yung when you see how if you go to different branches, ang bilis-bilis talaga nilang mag-wipe ng table, maglinis ng table. Pag maglabas, meron talaga silang sistema from the cashier to the cook to the busboy. Then I know the business is run well. Same with any business, BPO man, manufacturing business, even agency, manpower agency. How strong is your most basic rank and file? Kung yung tao, pag kunyari, pagpasok mo pa lang, receptionist, nagte-text, then you already know the managers are not really doing their jobs. If you pag tawag mo lang ng telepono, customer service, tapos sasagot, hello, you already know this business is not run very well. So I think this is a very good reminder that we should train, or we should be able to reach even to the most rank and file, most basic of positions. How are we training them? How are we leading them? And is leadership just based on the business owner or the managers, or is it down the line? Because even the rank and files can be leaders. Diba? Like, everyone thinks it's because pag may position ka, mataas ang sweldo mo, mahaba na tenure mo, they're leaders. But that was Ma'am Vivian was saying nga, leaders are influencers. They can influence the baba and the ano. And there's some companies, yung secretary, yun yung pinakamalakas doon sa company na yon. So this talk is a good reminder na we should not take coaching for granted. As what Sir Giovanni was saying, Jangas Giovanni was saying, people are doing it as a chore kasi they think it's related to salary and their performance review. Where in fact, they're missing the point. The point of coaching is so that everyone is walking along the same line, having the same goals. All outputs from the smallest department up until the top are somehow coordinated and unified. Because it's very difficult for an organization to move forward if everybody marches to their own different beat. And many companies do that. They get away with that because there's so much money coming in. They don't really care of the inefficiencies, of the type of people that's in there, of the culture. They don't care anymore. But if you want to build a company that lasts, you have to care. Because sometimes times are good, but like what the pandemic was saying nga, oftentimes times are bad. And you want the company to survive longer than you are. And what you need to do is you need to make sure that you integrate coaching inside your system. Not just maybe to the experts or to the ano, but even mentoring from the mid management to the lower, and training from the mid to the lowest. 'Di ba? We have to do it the time. Kasi unless we are not conscious about it, I don't know what the HR is doing. 'Di ba? We're just doing payroll, paying benefits, all admin stuff. And that's not what we are in the HR cafe is all about. We want to train people to look further beyond their job descriptions because they can be better. Kaya that's the reason why I love listening to Miss Vivian kasi tuwing nakikinig ako sa kanya, meron ka talagang idea na pwede mong ipasok sa company mo para gumaling yung sistema mo. Because even if you're such a good leader, even if you're such a good HR manager, if you are operating alone and you're the only efficient one there, your company won't grow. It has to be all throughout the organization. And I think the challenge after this talk is how do you integrate coaching, mentoring, instructing, teaching, yung leading, guiding, not just from the top to the bottom, but from the bottom down to the bottomest, all around your organization. And I think that's very, very important to, lalong-lalo na now, post-pandemic. And with that, we'd like to thank Chris Igual, who said very informative talk, Miss Vivian. Mas Christine Guzman, very informative. Thank you, Mentor Alan. I availed po of your performance management process training promo. Thank you, PHRG. Always every Sunday looking forward for the feedback and thoughts about every Sunday's quote, HR concerns, and HR related topic takeaways. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in to the HR Cafe for best learning. And again, please search Miss Vivian Cruz sa Facebook because if you PM her, she will always be responding to you friendly. Sobrang friendly niyan. So kung kailangan niyo ng consulting, please, or training, both online and offline, please contact Miss Vivian Cruz. Because as you can see, sobrang sulit ang trainings
Yeah.
niya.
Thank
And
you,
with that,
ma'am.
thank
And
you so
nice
much,
meeting
everyone.
you. Nice meeting you, Ma'am Vivian.
Thank
Siguro
you.
one day, let's collaborate in one project.
Yes, sure, no worries. And thank you very much again, Philippine HR Group.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much. See you next Sunday.
And na?
And na, we're offline.
Not yet. We're still live.
Hmm.
Game?
All right. Bye-bye. Have a
Bye.
great
Ikaw na
Sunday.
lang. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yun.